Hello, boys and girls, it's your boy King Jiffy Coats, and today we're doing another episode of Haunted Router, and me and Ben decided we were going to go through all of the stories on our Reddit, which is a monumental challenge, I tell you what. But this should be really fun. I'm very excited to do this. I know Ben's just amped. He's going crazy over there. I figured, what a better way to start than with... I inherited my granddad's pub, but I can't bring myself to go into the cellar again by Miss Evil Dr. Potter. Now, if you go to her page, does it have a real name? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Nope, just Miss Evil Dr. Potter. She posted on our subreddit. Ben, what did she say on our subreddit? The tagline, it was like, please, we're big fans, or...
Yeah, she was like, keep up the good work. I'm a big fan of the podcast. You guys are so much better than everyone else. No, the first two lines of it were, but she is, now, I might be completely screwing this up. Like, I might be just hitting a foul ball as soon as we start the podcast, but is she the acclaimed author? Like, we don't know who she is, but
no.
She the one that was like... Okay. I thought that she was the one that was like, hey, like some of my stories are being adapted, so you can't read these. Like,
no,
these few,
that was the Blair House. That was Briar House. So Nikki XX posted, she made Briar House, and she posted on our sub recently, around like in this time frame, I guess.
I get these two confused.
When he sees women, he sees all the same. He's like Jack Black in Shallow Hal.
I read Lady Gamer Tag, and I'm like.
He just, soon as he sees the lady, he just starts instantly being as sexist as possible. I one time was like playing a game and my wife jumped on and he was like, "Get out of here, you Arab woman! Get in the kitchen!" I'm like, "Whoa, dude! Whoa, that's my wife."
He'll never do that again. I tell you, boy.
Dude, she cried for like 3 weeks. It was insane.
I haven't had to see hide nor hair.
But yeah, no, they said, "Hey, dudes, consider reading my story. Big fan of the pod. Keep up the work." We were like, it was cool. It was a big boost of ego, at least for me, to have somebody like our stuff enough to like reach out and say, "Hey, I want on your penis. I want on your penis right now. It looks tasty and delicious." And just have you heard of boyfriend penis? Or
what?
Have you ever heard of husband or boyfriend penis? This is like a thing, like a real thing. No. I was on Instagram. Never heard of this. Or like, because that's where all my racist and like overly like overly sexual like videos are.
Your ovaries.
Yeah, my ovary videos. So I send all my wife anything that mildly has to do with sex and is like crazy. I send to my wife because I want to get a eye roll out of her. But during because of this, I just have like the most racist and sex like driven feed on my Instagram. And one day I hit a video and it was this chick and she's like explaining boyfriend penis. Basically, you have to be under a certain size and girth in order to be eligible to be marry worthy, because you want it to get up there and do the job, but you don't want it to hurt afterwards. No matter how good it is during, you don't want to hurt for a couple days afterwards. So girls are like downscale depending on the penis size. So, like,
that makes sense.
My wife was like, "Oh, you never hit a husband penis. You're like way below," but it works. Like, I bought enough jackhammer toys to take care of that part. She's like, "You radiate heat, and I can lay on your stomach like a giant pillow." That's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm there for too.
Anyways, let's get into the story. I inherited my granddad's pub, but I can't bring myself to go into the cellar again.
I don't think any kid likes cellars. But the one in my granddad's pub is something else. The way the pub is laid out, is that it's split in half between living space for the pub landlord and his family, and then the pub itself. The living space and its winding corridors and staircases are hidden behind doors which only the landlord, or in my case landlady, has the keys to. But Granddad always left them unlocked. He trusted his patrons. The pub has to have ways for the landlord to quickly get from one area to another without a crowd of patrons. Hence the hidden corridors and stairwells. It's the same old houses that used to keep servants. It's more common in very old pubs, and although this one isn't one of the many that claim pub in England, it has medieval foundations, and the walls in the pub garden are 17th century.
Your audio paused.
Of course it did. I'll just redo that. I'll just redo that paragraph then. The pub has to have ways for the landlord to get to quickly at the same time. Okay.
That was beautiful.
I'm covered in fleas. The pub has to have ways for the landlord to quickly get from one area to another without having to move through a crowd of patrons, hence the hidden corridors and stairwells. It's the same in old houses that used to keep servants. And more common, it's more common in very old pubs, and although this one isn't one of the many that claim to be a pub in England, it has medieval foundations, and the walls in the pub garden are 17th century. The building is a pretty Victorian structure. The building is a pretty Victorian structure, not like, it's pretty Victorian.
It's pretty Victorian. I don't know if you knew this about my building, but it's decently Victorian. It's pretty much
not
there.
like, yeah. I feel like I was supposed to read that like comparatively rather than descriptively.
I like the way you read it the first time.
Yeah, compared to those people down this block, it's pretty Victorian.
Yeah, no, did you see the guy next door? Shit, look, English as fuck. No. I don't want like modern stabby English. I want like, oh, cup of tea. Oh, I'm going to go to the bar.
I want German brutalism, where it's just a big concrete block.
Dude, I want Vlad the Impalerism. I just want my whole house to be surrounded by impaled dead bodies.
You could probably get away with that in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Down there,
It's pretty cool. I tried, but they were like, why are you putting them all up in gay sexual positions? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought
it wasn't the fact that you were doing it. It was the way the way you were going about it.
Something about me living near a preschool and it not being.
Oh,
really
it's something
cool.
with you personally too. You're just like a nuisance.
I'm just like there.
That's
I was like,
they're like, we're done taking your.
Like, there's an elementary school, a preschool, a community center. All
Why
this
can't
stuff
you be a nice,
on the same road you
impaler?
live over here, and you impaled people in weird sexual positions. Why? I'm like, which part are you mad about? That I need to know. Because one way, I'm like, darn, murder's bad. The other way, you gotta let me know when the book burnings are, because I've always wanted to go to one of those things.
Well, you'd be great.
I think I'd be good at burning books. I think we start with the Twilight series because that is not how vampires should have ever been portrayed, and they needed to burn all those books. I've read them; they're garbage. I want all those books dead. We don't go out in the sunlight because we're twinkly and made out of diamond skin. Why haven't you taken over all of humanity, you fucking weirdos?
Look, like literally, I mean this so sincerely. Regardless of like administration or party, you should just clip like that like last like minute and a half and send that in as like a resume, and you will get work in the government. You're like, I think I'd be great at burning books. Like, I'll go fucking ham, and then you like logic it out for a reason. Like, no matter which party, you can work. You'll just be a bipartisan.
They always burn books. Doesn't matter what side.
Yeah, I'm the fireman.
They're like,
Fahrenheit 451.
Well, we gotta burn. What something did they burn? Harry Potter. Harry Potter sucks.
Yeah.
Witches.
Harry Potter.
And then
it'll be like
the other one was not Catcher in the Rye. Was it? It was Catcher in the Rye, right? The one with the.
No, they never burned that one.
To Kill a Mockingbird. They got rid of Kill a Mockingbird.
There we go.
Yeah. They're like, white guy helping black guy. Burn the book. Burn the book. Yeah, super progressive book when it came out, and they're like, burn it now. Racist. Next year it'll be another. It'll like I don't know when the next election is. I don't pay attention to that shit. We'll have a new group of book burnings. I'm always excited to see who gets ousted. I'm just waiting for us to get some elbows.
Yeah. How dare you write a sympathetic book about poor people?
Yeah, million poor people, they suck. We always knew they suck. I'll jump in. I like S.E. Hinton. I'll still burn his books just to be there, just to see one.
Right.
You always hear about him.
That's why you're perfect for the job. Is you're like, I don't care. I even like this author, and I like them. Still gonna burn the book. Like,
finally, something going on,
PDF.
Dude. Yeah, dude.
All right, we're never gonna get through this. As a child, I made great use of the hidden passageways. What was always fun about going to visit Granddad was getting to secretly travel through the back of the pub, and then pop up in places and freak out the punters.
Dude, punters? Oh, am I reading? Dude, I just saw punters, bro, and I was like, dude, if I freak out the punters, I've had to put the hood on, dude. I don't know why. Alright, dude.
What's a punter?
I don't know what a punter is. This is British, dude. I'm American. Hoorah! Yeah, dude, every time, what, tea, crumpets, and marmalade? Or, what's it? It's like Marmite. Marmite, dude. What? Wait, is this the girl? This is the girl. No, these are the punters. Archie, get in there! Now it's you.
It's literally just a client. They'd gasp, barely holding on to their pint glasses.
I thought she was a ghost!
My favorite regulars were the old-timers. They knew all the pub ghost stories. They'd tell me about the little boy who giggles in the function room, who, according to the psychic that came in once, died of TB sometime in the Edwardian era. And there's the lady who cries in the pub garden. Some of the men claim to see her in a gray apparition, dressed in Victorian morning dress. She likes to appear around midnight and doesn't like men. which keeps them from lingering in the pub garden after chucking out time. There's also a man in the main bar area who likes to whistle sea shanties. My granddad likes to think he was a pirate or a smuggler. We are, after all, situated near the coast, and the pub may well have partaken in some free trading. I'd always sit with my elders and listen to them spin yarns until it was time for me and my cousins to go to bed upstairs. Upstairs we have 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a sitting room. Then downstairs we have a huge kitchen for making pub grub, my granddad's office, which is now technically mine, and then, right as you approach the door to get into the main bar, are the stairs to the cellar. The pub portion of the building was renovated just after the war, but the living quarters where my granddad lived still looked very Victorian. They've gone from pretty Victorian to very Victorian.
Yep. Well, he kept his house.
This is comparatively Victorian.
He had to modernize the bar because he was losing patrons at one time. It was the '60s. There was like a movement going on. The Irish were blowing up cars. So he was like, I got to do something to be hip and cool. So he like changed it a little bit. He like put a flower on the wall, and he like put like one of those weed leaves because he's like, I'm hip like that. He had like the weird colored lights and the Andy Warski paintings. And you're like, look at that. No, it's not Victorian anymore. And like you can still see the residue of that. It's like when you go to like an old cave and you can see the spray paint from like the 80s and you're like, what an aesthetic.
That paints quite the vivid picture with all of the punters sitting around, old hippies.
Yeah, now
coastal British hippies.
They used to be hippies. Now they hate everything. That's where you gotta. That's when you're like the bar guy. Everything's the problem now. They'll be complaining about everything, and every sentence is like contracting themselves. They're like, I don't believe in free speech anymore. Also, I think we should censor TV more. You're like, what?
Yeah, they'll just put anything out there these days. But they're trying to censor my free speech.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Alright, you're farting. Just fucking drink your weird Jameson. Drink your beer and Folgers and what is it called? Fosters. Drink Fosters and Jameson and shut the fuck up.
The staircase isn't quite circular, but it has a bend as you walk down into the darkness of the cellar. You can only barely see the bottom of the staircase as you look down. As you lean over the banister, all you can really see is the darkness, pure and black, like tar. You can see all the way down into the cellar's darkness from upstairs in the living quarters too, as it's all one spiral staircase that connects the whole living quarters and makes it feel like a home rather than pub lodging. Having to pass by the cellar staircase every time you wanted to enter the main was always terrifying as a child. But what was even worse was having to go down into the cellar yourself, especially if you had to go alone. Occasionally, Granddad would ask one of us to go down and get some ice for the bar. One day, my older cousin, who usually did the job, couldn't be found, and so the task fell to me.
Okay, so I have a question. Yep. Obviously, the story is called, I inherited my granddad's pub, but I can't... So there's something down there. Are we thinking ghosts? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, you're ghosts. You're ghosts.
Yeah.
Are you dying on ghosts?
No, not exactly, but I definitely think that, all the apparitions and stuff like that certainly point in that direction. Like, maybe there's some... If they're seeing a bunch of different ghosts, then maybe there's some, portal. I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird to think. Is everywhere in this town that's haunted? What's up?
No. So, I think if it is ghosts, it's not a ghost down there. Like, hear me out. So, have you ever seen The Machinist, right? With Christian Bale. You've seen him. Yeah. You don't have to see the movie. You just see the picture of Christian Bale in that movie, all lanky and gross. Now imagine him with rimmed glasses, and a twirly mustache. Now that guy's down there completely naked, and there's just endless dead bodies, and he's just having sex. He's having sex with these dead bodies, right? Like, he's sex, like that kind of sex. Like, not just let's go down to the joint for the bottom to do a little bit of necrophilia. No. I'm talking full-on slapping and clapping necrophilia.
Like romantic?
I mean, if you want it to be. I mean,
I don't. This is your fucking thing.
No.
What do you want it to be?
Here's the thing.
You're the one describing this.
Is any sex romantic when you're just watching it? Think about it.
He's not, though.
Okay, well, put yourself in the cuck chair real quick. Put yourself in the cuck chair. And you're sitting there, and there's just plowing going on in front of you. At what point are you going to get bored and start looking at your phone because it's not romantic at all? Even if they're really into it. Without music. You watch a movie and they're getting plot out, right? And obviously one of the participants in that scenario is alive. But, okay, so you're sitting there and you're
one
like...
of them would have to be alive. You can't watch 2 dead bodies.
Yeah, you could. Dude, imagine...
You could.
Okay. Harnesses.
Never mind.
Harnesses. And slapping. They're on a lot. It's like one of those.
Well, then you're not
balls.
gonna get bored because you're busy then playing like the weird marionette. Anyway, what were you saying about the endless bodies? Yeah, you're the one on this path.
Okay. So, anyway, so this creepy necrophiliac guy's down there, and he like lives like in the shadows, in the zone of darkness. He's in the darkness zone, and he's having sex with these dead bodies, and they're just so not down with it. He loves it. He thinks it's great. Good old time. Old grandpa thinks it's a good old time to let him down there and have sex with these bodies. Anyway, so the necrophiliac is down there, dude. He's just slapping and clapping. And these ghosts of these bodies can never be, like, put to rest and, like, live into the happy wonderland in the sky because they're getting slapped and clapped by the necrophiliac. And when she goes down there, it's that what she's feeling, like the fear she feels by going down there, isn't ghosts, because they're all upstairs drinking with the guy or outside hating men. So when she goes down there, she thinks it's a fear of like a sense. I got that sense. The ghosts are behind me. Whatever. No. It's so much musky death sex smell that she's confusing it for fear.
That's your theory as to what's going on.
Yeah, dude. I think it's a pretty good theory. I were in Vegas and I was a betting man and I had some dice.
You got that. You got that from very few paragraphs. I must say.
I mean, the clues are all there. Did you not see?
They're all there.
Yeah, they had a lot. They used to do weird stuff with the dead bodies in the Victorian age.
Did you read ahead? Be honest with me.
If this story this story becomes necrophiliac, which I really or necrophilia, the horror story, I will be so happy. I'll be so happy. Nothing would make me happier in this world than if they made this weird, creepy, skinny guy in glasses with I want to give him a bowler hat. He deserves a bowler hat. Just to make it even better. He looks now like the guy from Meet the Robinsons, but naked. And he's just slapping and clapping some dead bodies in like grotesque detail. If this story becomes that from innocent child at her granddad's pub,
that she's inheriting. So she's inheriting the problem. If this is true, then
well, again, dude,
maybe it's like I can't get this guy out of my bar.
Well, I mean,
and the punters, they're just whoops. I said punters and kicked my desk. And the punters are like, yeah, no, we're not bothering with that guy. All right, okay, I guess I can see it. I'm coming around on the theory.
Oh yeah,
Ghost does seem like low-hanging fruit. If maybe we're being set up for something. I would say we're probably being set up for something else, but
exactly.
I don't know. That is, I was trying to get in front of that before you interrupted, but yeah, thank you.
I mean, here. I'm pretty much a genius.
I'll just give it to you. No, I'm just giving it to you. Yep, you're right.
So,
that is exactly what you said.
If it's anything other than ghosts, I'm correct. Anyways, what's the next line? Is it me or is it you?
I've been waiting for you.
Oh, it's me. Oh, I just kept talking. What's the line? Give me the line here, pal. You weren't even enough of the guy from Batman. Give me some ice, would you love? That wasn't good either. That was terrible. I'll just let you go.
You weren't even the guy from Batman.
No. Some people just like to watch the world burn. That would have been good. Give me some ice, would you love? There we go.
Okay, nailed it. He asked, handing me the shiny metal bucket from the bar. I hated saying no to the old man, especially when he asked so kindly, so I did as he bid me. As if on the way to the gallows, I walked across the red patterned carpet to the main pub floor with my head lowered, dragging my feet on the floor. I raised my small hand to the door handle and opened the door to the living quarters. I stepped in and closed it behind me. The comforting sounds of the pub, old rock and roll music, and chatter were blocked out in the process. I was left with an uneasy silence. The stairs to the cellar were waiting for me on the other side. I flicked the light switch on. The cellar was flooded with yellow light. Here we go, man. We're putting your theory to the test already.
Oh, wait, hold on.
My pleather...
Well, how do you think the lights got yellow if it isn't semen? Like, if it's not like the fumes from dead bodies and semen, what is it?
The only lights that I can actually answer for are white in this room, and the rest of them are yellow bulbs from before I moved here, so...
do you see how mine are all yellow? How do you think I understand what's going on?
Oh, we're talking about your basement.
Wait, hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot deny or admit what is in my basement right now. For legal reasons that I will not discuss. Anyway, you had a part to read, Ben?
Yeah. My pleather ballet flats began to tap against the wooden stairs as I descended the curved staircase. The coldness made me come out in goosebumps. I hate that it's always cold underground. I've never been a spelunker. Me neither. In my opinion, the underground should be foreboding. It's not meant for the living. I always think if a place is cold, damp, and dark, you as a human being should know it's not for you, Jeff. Those faces are trying to tell you that they aren't meant for them and to stay away. Unless you're a bat, or a stalagmite, or you do a horror stories podcast. At the bottom of the staircase was the concrete cellar floor. I pattered across the floor, trying not to stare too long down any of the little mysterious-looking corridors, or in the eerie, dark spots where the light didn't reach. My eyes scanned over kegs and piles of packaged cans and glass bottles. Until finally, I reached the ice machine. It was an old, clunky thing that whirred noisily. Typo. Another thing that still bothers me about the pub cellar is how amplified noises become. I always tried to move around that cellar like I was trying not to wake someone up. Ghosts. Wake the dead.
The necrophiliac in the corner taking his nap.
There's so much room to move around.
Okay, hold on. He said it was cold. He said it was, well, yeah, I said probably under the stairs or a secret room. There's got to be a secret room. What do you think?
You're saying that this guy is basically powering the town off of all the weird steam and sex funk coming out of the basement.
Okay, that's only when the freezer door room opens, right? Because not freezer room, but you know what, like morgue room. It's cold down there. Where else do you keep dead bodies? In the place of the Chili's. In the place of the Chili's is where you keep dead bodies. This is 100% right. And I had, like, when they said it was cold and damp down there, you had to keep it cold and damp for dead bodies.
Like, dry. Nope, not damp. Dry. I know. I've heard that you're supposed to do it that way.
Listen. The condensation from the room that's cold is making the rest of it damp. Which, again,
look,
if they're in another room...
If you like your corpses smelly, then you go ahead and just keep it nice and humid in there.
I never said the regular room. They haven't gotten to the necrophilia room yet. It's going to be shiny and clean, and it's got the drawers, and each drawer is labeled with, like, what his favorite part of them is. Like, he's like, boobies, butt, good vagina, not deteriorating. I got bed to break. Yeah, good vagina. And like all of them are like listed like that. And then like the cool, obviously it's a pub of the olden times, so not all doors have good sealing. So the fucking electrical bill is probably astronomical. But it's all the coolness is leaking out, which causes condensation in the non-cold part because they got to heat the bar for the other people.
Okay, so you're saying that... Alright,
there's a secret room. There's a secret necrophilia room with the Christian Bale guy. And his butler, Batman, upstairs, the grandpa, is, like, protecting him.
Okay. I have no idea where I was at. This fucked me up so bad. At the bottom of the staircase was a concrete cellar floor... Nope, I got
That's way far back.
Wake up something up. Yep. As I gently lifted up the flap of the ice machine, the sound echoed throughout the cellar, as did the sound of the little plastic scoop plunging deep into the ice cubs. Then the most noisy part of picking up scoops of ice and dropping them into my metal bucket filled the empty cellar with an awful clattering sound. I imagined, as a young girl, that what frightened me about the loud noise was that those noises could cover up small noises, shuffles or whispers. And I always liked to have all my senses available to me when I was... No. And my senses available to me when I was in that cellar. Shut the fuck up. No, as I was finishing up collecting ice, I thought I heard shuffling behind one of the doors. I'm gonna fucking reach through this camera. No, what's really funny to me is like the visual that... Where she's... I like the... I get where like the fear comes from, where it's like the ice clanking down into the bucket and stuff like that is gonna sound like gunshots like echoing through the cellar and stuff like that. But like what I'm finding comical about this is that if there were like the ice cubes clattering into the bucket and somebody like walked up behind you and you screamed, that she's like, the way that she kind of makes it sound is that she's just gonna keep like scooping ice.
Hell yeah!
And like that the sound is gonna keep keep covering up the sound of her being attacked.
Well, here's what
and I'm like, that's hilarious. The way I'm picturing that.
If you're scooping ice, right? You're scooping ice, and a necrophiliac walks up behind you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep scooping ice, or are you gonna turn and say, "Hi, Mr. Necrophiliac, you're completely naked. Oh shit."
I'm gonna be like, am I in your way? And I'm alive, so please don't touch me.
Hey, maybe he wants some warmth every once in a while. You never know. I'd be scared. I'd be like, you're I'd be like, you're completely naked. You want me to like shake your hand, your penis? I just went out of here. Can I please? I'm gonna scoop ice. I'm just gonna scoop ice. So like,
I'm just gonna keep scooping.
Yeah, dude, that's all.
Okay, I guess I get it. In this fucking wild scenario that you've pictured, like every scoop of the ice that you make, he gets like a little bit closer and a little bit more naked.
No, he's always in my head. He never puts his
there's
clothes
varying
on.
levels of naked. He's more and more naked as he gets closer. You're realizing.
He only wears glasses and a bowler hat ever.
Then you realize that it's skin as he gets closer to you.
Dude, the bowler hat's made out of skin, just like bodies.
His own skin.
No,
yes,
that's
and
not
the glasses.
as fun. That's not as fun. So the bodies, he's already like tenderized to the perfect level. He's like, okay,
How?
by having sex with him.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then when he's done, he just skins them like Ed Gein and makes them into a hat. And like when he gets sick of one color of hat, he's like, "Oh, time to go after a different race. Can't be considered racist."
I think I'm building too much lore for you. But, I mean, I feel like I'm enabling this somehow, even though I'm trying to get in front of it. Anyway, just well. As I was finishing up collecting ice, I thought I heard shuffling behind one of the doors. The cellar had some doors which are always locked. It made my hairs stand on end, but I assumed maybe it was a rat. I clutched my bucket of ice, getting ready to make a mad dash for the stairs. I see you in the corner.
It's necrophiliac.
In yours mind.
100%. Dude, failure. Called it. Well, you can keep going. You can go. I'm sorry. I won't get to my great reveal where I'm a genius in your big stupid head.
I imagined myself darting up these steps, smacking the light switch off and throwing the door to the bar closed behind me. I was about to go through with my plan, feeling the adrenaline already start to kick in for my sprint, when 3 slow knocks came from my left. I slowly turned towards where the sound had come from. It was the old wooden door. The door was partly rotted in places. I stared at it, waiting for another set of knocks, or maybe confirmation I had just heard a random noise and there wasn't something waiting behind the door and asking to be let out. I was also looking to see if anything was peeking from the woodworm gaps in the door.
"Hello?"
I said stupidly. For a second I wondered if the sound didn't come from my mouth, but rather it echoed through my head. I wasn't entirely sure why I'd said it. I sort of felt like the words had been drawn or pulled out of me. I kept staring at the door, waiting for a response. Really, I wanted to run, but couldn't unstick my feet from the floor.
"Hello?"
A voice greeted slowly. It drew out the vowels strangely, in a faltering high pitch that made me feel sick. It reminded me of my older cousins doing an impression of me. There was a brief pause where my dumbass child brain was trying to figure out its next move. It was complicated because, what if there was a person behind the door that needed help? What if someone was hurt behind that old door? I moved toward it.
"Hello?"
It crooned again, beckoning me closer. It began to scratch against the door, slowly, almost timidly, like a trapped, pathetic animal. My hand hovered over the brass doorknob. I had no idea whether or not this door was locked, but I could at least try to save the poor soul on the other side. Then, as my hand gripped the cold doorknob, there was a small shock that sent a message through my nervous system, telling me that whatever had responded to me didn't sound or seem human. It was not to be trusted, and it did not need me to save it.
This is also a point for the
Snatching my
necrophiliac. I don't count them as people. I mean, if you're having sex with dead bodies, should you be counted as a person? Yes or no?
No.
Say that this is another point in Jeff's little mark book of he's a genius. So you can keep going. You do your thing.
But you go ahead. It's that. Snatching my hand away, I decided to scream. In horror, I threw my metal bucket of ice at the door and bolted up the stairs, not daring to even glance behind me until I reached my granddad's side. It might surprise you to know that I've been down in the cellar since, never alone, but in all states of drunkenness at all times of day, with lots of people, with just one person, with a little cousin, etc. Is the cousin's name etc.? No, I'm just fucking around.
But it is
Nothing
funny
has
that she
happened.
said in states of drunkenness, like she has all these different people that she's bringing down with her, and then she just starts harvesting children. That would be cool. She's like, "Come on, little kid, come down to the necrophiliac room with me." It's
This is a wormwood door.
yeah, the wormwood door. is down there, and I'm not sure. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure the dude is having sex with dead bodies. Like, I'm not positive, but it's probably a good idea.
Like, you know, Jeff upstairs, he won't stop talking about it. I'm telling you down there, there's a guy clapping dead booty. Nothing has happened since that day. After the unpleasant experience as a kid, we as a family all went back down there and opened that door, which had been unlocked. There was nothing behind it except the good bottles of booze. The pub has recently fallen into my hands. My grandfather isn't dead, but his health and memory are failing. Dementia is a bitch. And he's moved in with my uncle. No one else wanted to move down to the coast and take it over, so I happily volunteered. I'm fresh out of uni with a degree in sociology, so I have no other job prospect.
Okay, so
Real.
in the world of dumb degrees, that one's up there with theater arts major. I don't know who would ever try to get a theater arts degree, but they're fucking retarded. But it's up there with like the same levels of stupidity. Yeah, I mean, like dumb degrees, it's like psychology. What kind of idiot goes to school to be a psychiatrist? It's a made-up profession for weenies. Anyways, but like, you know what I mean, like philosophy and like sociology and humanities. You're like, okay, like become an electrician, bitch. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to be, well, dude. They would 100% go work for like shoveling shit. They're like, this is a good job. My sociology degree is helping me so much because now I understand the shit I'm shoveling.
Or they just start YouTube channels, right?
Or they live in a pub and have sex with dead bodies. You walked into that one, Ben.
I probably did, just like I walked into the basement down here when I was a little girl.
You were a sweet little girl.
I used to be before I went in the basement. I thought I had it made. I'm only 7. I thought I had it made. I ran the place for about 2 great weeks, managing to covertly avoid going down into the cellar alone. I always got someone's kid to help me carry stuff.
She's back getting children. She was already like scapegoating her kid cousins.
She's Freddy Kruegering the fucking neighborhood.
Yeah, dude, that's like so demented. Here, everybody
fucked.
thought I was a monster for impaling people on my front lawn. This chick's like willing to feed children to a guy who has sex with dead bodies. That's pretty dark. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty dark place to go.
Or I'd brush off the ice or keg-related chores to one of the bar staff, which are also children, because
I'm just so busy.
In truth, it's because I'm a massive pussy. In my opinion, and I think you'll agree, I had every right to be. But the other day, the time finally came where I had to go down there by myself after a decade of somehow managing to avoid it. It was a few hours before opening, before my bar staff were due to arrive, and I realized I needed J20s. My instinct was to wait and get one of the staff to do it, but then I thought, what kind of a pub landlady can't even go down into her own cellar? Determinedly, I marched through my pub, thudding down the steps that were so old they bowed in the middle and creaked with every step. I made my footsteps purposefully loud to prove a point. I was an adult, and a landlady, and a big, strong, independent woman and all that. Whatever I'd heard as a child could have been my imagination. Maybe one of my cousins played a trick on me they never owned up to. Maybe Granddad has a...
I hate to pause you here, but I don't know what a J-20 is. And I looked it up. It's a Chinese fighter jet, and I don't... Google was like, Chinese fighter jet. I'm like, I don't think this British lady has Chinese fighter jets in her basement. That'd be funny.
That doesn't seem correct.
You see what I see, right? You see the Chinese fighter jets.
No, I got it. I got the J-20. Is it Carlsberg? Yeah, okay. J-20 is a still soft drink made from fruit juices, manufactured by Carlsberg Britvic and sold in the United Kingdom and Ireland. And today's sponsor.
The Chinese fighter jet. We are proud sponsored by the CCP.
China money coming in, dude.
China money.
And also Carlsberg Britvic. If I'm drinking anything, it's going to be J20s.
There we go.
It rolls right off the tongue, and we both know exactly what it is.
I think you're actually wrong in finding whatever that is.
That she's going down to get Chinese fighter jets?
It's Chinese fighter jets. I just like the image of her just like hefting up. She's like...
Well, how do you think this guy gets away with everything down there? Because now I'm bought into the theory. No, he's harboring these. Like, they cover up everything for him. Dude, this is a spy thriller now.
Now he builds these for China and so China, when he sends them to China, they dispose of the dead bodies for him.
He's like, I only want one thing in payment.
Yeah, he's like, just let me keep having sex with dead bodies and scare the girl who owns the pub so she never asks any questions.
They're like, specifically the girl. We could find somebody else. He's like, nah, she's fun.
She's fun. I want to keep scaring her. Her granddaddy gave her the pub. We were chill buddies back in the day. He used to watch sometimes. He would come in. He's like,
I was like, hello. And she was like, hello. Maybe granddad had a sound activated something or other to keep us away from the good booze. I looked around my cellar, trying to enjoy my organized shelves and thinking up ways I could modernize the space. The quiet cool of the cellar was actually quite peaceful once you got over the sense of looming, foreboding dread and doom. I scanned my shelves looking for the bottles of J20 I needed to restock. I plucked this packet of small bottles from the shelf, 10% off if you ordered it, and put in our code. Anyway, I heard nothing. You're right. Why wouldn't
if
it be
you
that
go to
today?
their website and type in necrophilia, there's
you get 10% off your order.
Probably, but also probably not. You might not be quick enough, or it never existed. You'll never know.
And we don't get money. It just makes our plugs vibrate. Anyway, I heard nothing, but not even a shuffle. Just the still quiet of the cellar, punctuated by the whirring of the ice machine. Still, I began to feel uneasy. I decided I'd made my point, and it was time to leave. I think you should just trust your instincts on things like that. I think a sense of people often ignore, but should heed more than anything, is when your body tells you it's time to leave. I told myself I'd stay longer next time, then a little more next time. But now it was time to go.
Quickly, dude. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's like smart. I really like. I made a lot of jokes here, or maybe not jokes. Good predictions. Incredible predictions. The best predictions. No one's ever had predictions like these. They're the best. Huge predictions. Anyways, so I made a lot of like offhanded comments and wackily doodliness, but this is really well written. I like it. I'm like,
it is.
I'm bought in. I'm bought in.
I'm bought in. Yeah. I like the idea of this like little like haunted looking like Victorian seaside pub and stuff. Like we don't really know what's going on yet. We just know that there's noises in the basement and that people have seen ghosts over the years, or at least they're telling stories that they've seen ghosts and stuff like that. But well, I don't know.
I'm gonna say what you always say because I actually finally played the game. I'm getting a lot of Silent Hill 2 vibes.
I do say that a lot. I'm getting a lot of Oblivion remastered vibes actually now from this.
I've never played Oblivion, and now you're just getting new games that I haven't played.
I'm just whatever game I'm currently playing. That's the vibe I'm getting from the story that we're reading.
Oh my god!
Quickly, I climbed the stairs, half expecting something to grab me along the way, or something thud up the steps behind me, but nothing did. I got to the top of the stairs and reached the hallway just fine. As I took one last look down into the cellar, I opened the door to the pub. I smiled to myself, enjoying the feeling of having conquered a deep childhood phobia. I took the box of bottles behind the bar and started restocking. As I restocked, I started to think, quite cockily, that being a pub landlady might be my calling. Now that I'd conquered the basement, all I needed to do now was to avoid becoming a Weatherspoons, and I'd be set for life.
What is a Weatherspoons? What is a Weatherspoons? Dude,
man,
okay.
Why are these goddamn British people sending us stories?
They're not even speaking English. They're speaking Swahili.
It's a British pub chain. Ugh.
That's why she did.
It's like a corporatized. Oh my god, and they do look like Victorian-y and stuff like that. Dude, she's gonna get bought out. That's what's in her basement. Is he's gonna be like, I'm here from things.
I'm here for.
We're looking at your property. I'm in acquisitions.
I really like the bodies you keep down here. They're good for the sex.
I love the pub, and I loved the pub and all the memories it had in its wall. I loved being by the coast, and I also owed it to Granddad and our regulars to keep the place running. Why? As I placed the last bottle into the fridge, I heard 3 knocks from the door to the living area. Being lost in thought, the sound made me jump and almost drop said bottle.
Said bottle. You said say it.
Said bottle. Say it.
Say it. You said it. Sound cute.
Said bottle. Being lost in thought. That sound made me jump.
I got just about well done.
She's from the south of Britain, where they talk like people from Louisiana.
Down in the bayous of the haggis joints.
Yeah, the bayous of Scotland.
You're early.
Yes, yeah, I got him. I called out to who I assumed was a member of my bar staff. There was no response.
Make me tea if you go into the kitchen, please.
No response again. I snapped. That didn't work either.
Hello?
I yelled into the empty pub, the sound reverberating through the air. There was a lengthy silence. Then finally, I did hear something. I heard a quiet, strained voice which sounded like it was coming from behind the door. I stepped out from behind the bar and began walking to the sound. As I got closer, it started sounding like a child. I put my ear to the door, wondering if a kid had wandered in from outside somehow, or maybe even broken in. It's one of the kids that got away, dude. She lured down into the basement. She's like, "Get down there, you little rubbish head!" Just gonna like beat him and just kick him down the stairs.
Once I unlock a Keira Knightley voice for this story, which will happen, it will get very Keira Knightley. I will get there. But just imagine Keira Knightley feeding children to a necrophiliac. As like those are like his Oompa Loompas. He's like the Willy Wonka of weird sex stuff. And they like clean up the body. They're like, Oompa Loompa, we got some clean. This dead body is very disgusting.
Anyway, so one of the kids got loose. Then in a voice which sounded all too familiar, something from behind the door ground out in a flattering and sickening high-pitched mockery of my voice. I liked part one. That was cool.
Fire.
So is it a ghost?
No, I mean upstairs, probably in the courtyard, but it is 100% a necrophiliac.
God damn it!
I mean, I'm gonna double down until I die on this one. You were kind of like weak in the pantalones on your guess. I feel like I need to double down. Maybe I might forget about it. My mind.
You're going full. You're going full chub on it.
The way my head works, dude. You know I can't keep a thought for more than 2 seconds, so it might just. I might forget.
This is the one you've held on to. Like you've had this for an astounding period of time.
I've given it my best. I'm like vibing with it. I just picture Christian, the guy from Christian Bale meets the guy from Meet the Robertsons, just with tons of drawers of like his sex toys that are people. They're dead people. Anyways, I think we should roll into part 2 because I think it's gonna be pretty solid. I love this story. I'm bought in, and I just want to get more of it into my like. Soul and balls.
Dude, maybe this is like a folk horror thing. Maybe it is. Okay, alright. I just had that thought because I was like, I was just picturing like the Victorian like coastal town and all that type of stuff. And I was like, oh my god, it seems like kind of like Wicker Man, but maybe not. I don't know.
Great Nicolas Cage movie.
Yes. Not the bees!
Not the bees! Love that movie. So bad. Terrible movie, actually, but so much fun to watch.
Alright, we're driving right into part 2, correct?
Yeah, let's do it.
Unfortunately, I couldn't track down any druids, voodoo queens, or even a crystal-toting hippie. This is in reference to the top comment on the first post, by the way, that said time to track down those things. But when I returned, I didn't go alone. I brought my older cousin called Mike, who I guess will have to do as backup for now. Cousin Mike was originally first in line to take over the pub. Ooh, family...
Maybe.
She bumped Cousin Mike out of the way for the family business.
That or Mike's...
They're lucky this wasn't a... If this was... She would be fucking hacked up in a alley, or Mike would be hacked up in an alley. There wouldn't be... One of them wouldn't be there.
Or Mike is a lovely...
Lumped all Italians together like that. If they were like gangsters, I guess I should say.
I mean...
Yeah, I'm gonna double it down. I'm actually gonna roll it back to Italians. They're fucking savages.
Oh, man. Listen, people. They did the wrong. We got rid of the wrong people. Get rid of the Italians. Build a wall around Italy. We need to build a wall. Yes. A big Italian wall.
Well, it'll be a big shoe, actually.
Yeah, dude.
We just need to put like a shoe over it.
We gave him the boot. Get the fuck out.
Wait, because the only reason I got it, rather than him, was because he...
didn't want the responsibility. I read that in the grandfather's voice because I feel like it's either like a grandfather or like a person of like power.
That's not what I thought you were going to say there. After hearing the thing from the basement make its debut, with that sickening imitation resounded from behind the door of living quarters, I screamed. Then I ran all the way out to the car park, got in my car, and drove straight to Cousin Mike's house. Driving down the country lanes with tears in my eyes and a pounding heart. It's a miracle I wasn't in an accident. I left all my stuff behind at the pub and showed up at Mike's house with nothing but what I was wearing.
Oh, at least she didn't show up naked. I feel like she wants to fuck Mike right away, dude.
That was a weird way of approaching that. After I pounded his door like a police officer, he opened the door to me very confused. Then, after his eyes scanned me and he realized the state I was in, his eyebrows became furrowed in concern.
What happened to you?
He asked while ushering me inside. I attempted to explain as I stuttered over my words. Then I cried some more while sitting on his sofa, whole body shaking like I was freezing. Eventually, I just showed him the previous post I made. He read over it, and I watched him grow increasingly disturbed by what I'd written. When he was done, he looked up from my phone and stared at me like he was trying to figure me out.
Are you fucking with me?
He finally asked, looking a little angry. I shuffled uncomfortably on his leather sofa.
What do you mean? Do you remember my sleep paralysis? Yeah, from when we were kids years ago. Why? Because this is eerily similar to what I used to hear when I had sleep paralysis. You know, when I lived there for a bit as a kid. Once we moved, I stopped having it.
Mike had night terrors and sleep paralysis all his life. I had seen him bolt upright and scream in the middle of the night many times as a child. He used to scare the shit out of me. And he'd talk in his sleep.
If you're trying to be funny, I don't like it. I'm not in the right state of mind for it.
I scolded him.
No, I promise I'm being serious.
I could tell by the sincerity in his voice and face that he wasn't messing with me. Not this time, anyway. I shook my head and wrapped my... Had a booger. Alright, I shook my head and wrapped my arms around myself.
You gotta huff those things. You either gotta pick it and eat it,
that's why I had to mute for a second, because I was like...
The best are the chunky ones you gotta chew on for a bit.
Those are nice. Like, it's like, I call that a zen.
Yeah, dude. Pop a little Zimbabwe, some of that African booger sugar. That's cocaine. It's just African sugar, I think, is zins. Is it me?
Yeah, all my shit.
Oh, my shit's back there. What am I gonna do? Just stay here tonight. The place can survive one night without you. Do any of your employees have the key?
I nodded.
We'll message them saying the family emergency and they can run the place for the night while we sort things out. We can go to my dad's and ask Grandad. Oh, I don't think asking him about this sort of thing will be good for his dementia.
Mike bit his lower lip as he thought about it, before nodding in agreement.
Yeah, actually.
There was a sad moment of silence between us before Mike finally broke it.
You just sit there and watch some TV, and try not to think about it. For a minute, alright? I'll make some tea.
He got up from the sofa and walked into the adjoining kitchen. I turned my attention to some talk show on the telly, while Mike potted about in the kitchen. Hearing the kettle boil gave me an immense amount of comfort. I almost said discomfort. Hearing the kettle boil gave me an immense amount of comfort.
I bet they're watching Taskmaster. That's my only British TV show I know. It's probably Taskmaster. Big fan right here. It's my favorite British thing ever made was Taskmaster. If you haven't watched it, totally worth a...
Is that a game show?
Yeah, so sort of.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of comedians are on it and they're put their stupid tasks and then they win a bust of the British dude from... I don't know, there was this Andy Samberg show called like Fucko or something. It was like I don't know, but it's Andy Samberg and that British guy from Taskmaster.
Okay, gotcha. My lovely bar staff were very understanding about the whole situation and ran the place for me for a bit. I felt terrible leaving them to fend for themselves. Laissez-faire management isn't my usual style. I discussed with them that I might not be back for a few days, and they decided they were happy to run it for me until I came back.
The bitch is going.
They're like thrilled, yeah. They're like, yeah! Lying to my staff and shirking work made me feel like the world's shittiest pub owner. But Mike comforted me by telling me stories of how when Granddad first bought the pub, back when he was a younger man in the 60s, he sometimes got so hammered he had to be carried to his bed upstairs by his own patrons. That made me feel a lot better. Mike and I asked that. I don't know why that made her feel better. Oh, that's good. Granddad used to get so blackout drunk that he just let the patrons run the bar. Oh, God, okay. Mike and I asked around the family, gently trying to get them to say if they'd seen or heard anything weird in the basement or the pub itself. They all said no. Nar. For... They all said no for told us the... They all said no and told us the usual ghost stories we'd heard hundreds of times. Aside from my youngest aunt, called Tanya. Auntie Tanya is less than a decade older than me, and she babysat me a lot when she was a teenager.
Well, actually, when you were about 10, I was babysitting all of you. I went down to the basement to steal a bottle of something because my little hoodlum friends and I were going to get drunk in a field later that night. Well, I went down there, and everything was fine. I didn't feel any dark energy whatsoever.
She giggled over the phone.
But as I walked up those steps, the twisty one, something wet, grabbed my ankle. I tried to yank me down.
She said the story in all seriousness, without her usual giggly way of speaking. She finished off the story, but I wasn't really listening, and I passed the phone to Mike. My mind was elsewhere in that moment, as I tried not to cry from the horror of it all.
Oh no, this important information's being relayed. I'm just gonna fucking hand the phone to somebody else.
Yeah, where it was like, what if the entire explanation is at the end of that, where she's like, it turns out there's a crazy guy that breaks into the bar every once in a while.
Turns out there's a necrophiliac who lives down... There's a necrophiliac who lives down there and has sex with dead cold mortars.
That's just Billy Bugger.
That's Billy Bugger. Yeah, he really does bugger those billies, let me tell you what.
Tanya's story lingered in my mind that night as I lay on Mike's sofa, until I eventually slept. I say I slept, it was more like lying in the dark trying to convince myself nothing was in it. I didn't manage to convince myself, no matter how logical I was. I had to resort to having a YouTube video essay.
It's Nate's
about
channel.
Some weirdo on the internet.
Yeah.
Nat 1 fucking games, baby! So I didn't have to sleep in the empty, dark silence of Mike's living room. What do you think she put on? She put on Echostasis? Yeah. No, Max Payne 3.
Yeah, he's the weirdo. Like, you gotta pick one that's a weirdo on the internet. I mean, that's... Max Payne is a weird dude.
Lucky for me, Mike was also worked evenings, so he was able to take me back to the pub when, after 3 days of hyping myself up and researching demonic mimics, I felt ready. Mike himself wasn't really religious or spiritual in any sense, but I think he has a good intuition and has a feeling of safety that follows him. That's old Safe Mike, which some people have described as a good vibe or an aura. Ooh, good vibes Mike. He has a punky and hippie-ish way of dressing that lends itself well to his personality. He might not describe himself as a spiritualist, but he's the sort of person you'd take with you on a ghost hunt, if you understand. Odd things are often drawn to him. He's also quite lucky, which is maybe why he decided not to take the pub and let it fall to me instead. Twat. When we arrived at the pub, this story is very well written. When we arrived at the pub, I spent some time gazing up at the old brickwork and the hanging baskets I'd accidentally let dry out. I put on what my granddad would call a...
brave face.
Standing tall and putting my shoulders back determinedly. I had convinced myself I was going to reenact the scene in every horror film where the main character goes back and fights the monster in a symbolic metaphor for overcoming trauma. Although I didn't really have any unresolved childhood trauma, so I didn't know what this monster was meant to symbolize.
I think of you as the uncle who didn't molest me. I hear that happens to people.
I'm kind of disappointed that you weren't supposed to be like, no symbolism. Just necrophilia. This is a one-layer story.
No, she didn't have any trauma. So she's never met the necrophiliac, and she doesn't have an uncle that molested her, so she's pretending she did. To be tough. It's like the girl from Split who won against Professor Xavier.
How did she win that? By didn't she?
She had worse trauma. She had trauma too, and he understood. He respected her trauma.
Oh yeah.
It was like a thing like that. It was like the Martha moment from Batman from Superman, but way better written.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. Before going inside, I stared out at the sea at the end of the road. It made me feel more at ease. Although the novelty of the seaside wears off more quickly than I thought it would, impossible. One notable thing about this seaside town is that it doesn't follow the usual pattern of coastal communities in the North Kent region. Oh, she's from Kent. Oh, God, these people. I don't like Kent people. I don't know anything about Britain, but I don't like Kent or Cockney.
I thought it said North Korea, so I was like, that's a weird part of England.
We can see right across the bay into North Korea. because usually these towns are shitholes with Kent. Most of them are packed with DFLs down from London, and for a few months in the summer. Then in the colder months, they decline into roaming grounds for marauding chavs on bikes. Until said chavs can find work on the pier again in the summer. Usually in this part of the world, there's a lot of drug abuse problems and unemployment. Sounds like my kind of town. But in this town, it's always quiet and peaceful. It is admittedly mostly pensioners. I rarely see a younger person. I remember there rarely being other kids around when I came to visit as a girl, even on the beach, foreshadowing. A sandy beach in the summer ought to be packed with children, but here it hardly ever is. I looked over at Mike, who gave me a reassuring smile as I put my key into the lock. He's high. The click it made as it turned made me come out in goosebumps. As soon as I opened the door, my stomach lurched and I was worried I was going to throw up. Definitely wouldn't be the first time someone threw up outside my pub, but it seemed uncouth for the landlady to be doing so at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. I followed Mike inside, watching him as he wandered around the bar, running his hand over the wood.
Feeling out spices?
I joked. He smiled and rolled his eyes.
Could I smoke in here?
He asked, already taking his tin out of his pocket.
Not if it's the verbal variety. Go smoke in the garden, please.
I waved my hand for him to take his illicit substances outside.
Wait, Mike. Do you think it's a good idea to do drugs before facing off against a supernatural entity? Yeah.
He nodded with a smile. This is my guy. Heading towards the beer garden without a second thought. I followed him. As he smoked, I sat next to him on the bench and tried not to look up at the windows of the living area. I was frightened I'd see a face. Instead, I looked over the plants in the pots lined up along the wall and last night's unemptied ashtrays sitting on the tables.
Boy, I'm not here to face off against anything. I'm just investigating and helping get you some stuff.
Mike clarified.
Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't mean it. Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't mean it like that anyway. Thank you, boy.
I nudged him.
No problem. Are you scared?
I asked, when I secretly wanted to ask, are you as scared as I am? He shrugged.
A bit.
I tutted and rolled my eyes.
Always so cold-blooded and calm about everything.
I got up from the bench and looked out toward the area where the sea was again. I folded my arms over myself, feeling a chill in the air.
You know, I gotta do my shift tonight. And ask the locals if they have any clue about what could be haunting us. Have you got a place nearby? He might be the person to ask to. Oh wait, he might be the person to ask. There's always a church. There's always a church somewhere close, isn't there?
I said absent-mindedly, staring out at the water, watching the waves, which were gray like the sky, swaying with the wind. I found myself swaying along with it slightly. Suddenly, Mike grabbed my wrist. I snapped out of my staring contest with the sea and looked down at him. His mouth was parted in a shocked oh shit, and his eyes were wide. I hated seeing his it's just in my peripheral. I hated seeing his face contorted like that. It reminded me of how he used to look when he had night terrors. That wide eyes terrified stare, seconds away from a blood-curdling scream. But this time there was no mom, dad, or granddad to come running down the hall, turn on all the lights, and save us from whatever Mike had seen in our doorway.
What?
My voice trembled as I asked. I resisted the instinct to turn around and see what had shocked Mike so much. I kept my eyes on him. his terror radiating off him and getting to me. Suddenly his expression softened and he finally took his eyes off whatever he'd seen.
What?
I asked again impatiently. He looked up at me. His mouth moved, but he seemed to struggle to find the words.
I saw a hand on the window, but it was all wet.
He managed to say. I had to laugh.
What do you mean wet? I'm sorry. I turned it into an innuendo and I just can't, bro. I can't. What do you mean wet? Look, it left a mark.
He pointed forward. I finally turned to follow where his finger was pointing. Sure enough, imprinted on the glass was a huge, wet handprint. This should have made my blood curdle, but instead it made me angry. I was tired of this. I didn't care who this moistened bastard was. I just wanted my pub back.
I fucking love that.
I made a frustrated grumbling sound before marching over the door and throwing it open. Angrily, I stomped my way through the pub, my eyes thudding against the my steps thudding against the carpeted floor, and into the living quarters. Mike rushed after me, trying to drag me back. I shrugged him off and threw the door to the living quarters open. I inked it so viciously it bashed against the wall, leaving a dent in the plaster.
What?
I yelled, staring down into the dark of the cellar.
Listen!
I demanded of the creature. Then I continued.
I won't bother you if you don't mess with me, understand?
I left a silent gap. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe 3 knocks, a growl, a creepy hello again. I wanted some kind of acknowledgement. Even if the response terrified me, I'd like to know what the monster thought of my proposal. But the darkness stayed still, and it stayed silent.
Well, I'll come down there to get something. If you keep making creepy noises, I'm gonna buy a speaker and have it play at high frequency or some shit. 24/7, okay? And I'll hire a priest if you don't leave me alone.
I could hear my Karen-esque tone and poorly planned threats echo through the cellar. My face had gone red from shouting. I stood at the top of the stairs, shaking with rage and adrenaline. I felt proud of myself for standing up to the cellar creature and turned to Mike for a reassuring nod. Instead, his face looked pale. He didn't even seem to notice me turn to look at him. His stare was fixed on the steps to the cellar. I followed his gaze. Along the steps, one after the other, were several wet footprints. My eyes followed the footsteps down into the darkness. The stillness of the dark was disturbed. Something moved around in it. My eye made out a shape. As they began to adjust to the dark, I began to see it clearly. Waiting there, at the bottom of the steps, shrouded in darkness and barely visible, was something grinning at me. Its mouth was wide and wet, and smiling up at me were 2 rows of numerous, tiny, sharp teeth set behind pale gray lips. The lips shone with moisture. Ugh,
yummy.
That last bit.
Dude,
lips shone with moisture. That one put me over.
Last necrophiliac I met was just a normal looking guy.
Did he smile that much?
No. He was pretty upset.
Was he that moist?
Yeah. That comes to come to find.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of
there's
embalming fluid involved in having sex with dead bodies.
The creature and its smile didn't move for a while. Just stayed grinning in the dark, breathing, waiting. Then I saw movement, as slowly, one slimy bluish hand, which was webbed between the fingers, began to stretch itself out from the dark. It paused in the air for a second, and my mind tried its hardest to decode what could happen next. Then the hand rested gently on the step above with a quiet thud. The creature froze again, waiting, breathing, ready, so very alive. Not a ghost or apparition at all. Damn.
Dang.
Both Mike and I seemed to be in agreement that if we moved, we'd trigger some sort of prey drive in the creature and it would chase us. We both knew it was down there in the dark, waiting to pounce. We stayed still, matching the motionlessness of the monster. There was a tense, fresh stillness in the air that felt as if it were going to snap. The air was also full of damp smell, perhaps like seaweed on a hot day at the beach. Have you ever played Blood? Like the old FPS?
No. I played the first 2 levels. I played the first 2 levels.
In the later game, there's like giant, just like fish-headed monsters with like just a big mouth that just come like they just come running at you or swimming at you and stuff. It reminds me of a gill beast.
So I'm trying to think of what the movie was, but like there's a creature that's like, I'm coming Hellboy the Tooth Fairies, but there was something else where it like morphed into that, and I can't remember what the movie was. It's driving me nuts right now. It's like, I don't even think the movie was that good. Oh, the Grimm Fairy Tales. Oh,
that's an old one.
Yeah, I think there was a scene in that with like a gremlin type creature.
I think so too.
They're like morphed. Right. I'm not sure though.
See, something about the proximity to the ocean, the lack of children in the town, and this basement monster are all correlating in my head into some sort of like weird like Dagon thing. Like maybe this is like maybe it's like a Cthulhu.
I don't think it was Grimm Fairy Tales either. Because it was like they thought it was like a baby. And then it like tried to like eat them. And the babies like ate each other. Dude, oh my god, it was that Tim Allen movie. The one that was Star Trek. Galaxy Quest. Remember the fucking little gremlin creatures from Galaxy Quest?
No, but I'm Googling it.
Dude, Galaxy Quest, that was like, that scared me as a child. Like, that's why I remember it so well, is it was the most visceral. There was the one hurt one that was like limping off, and the others ripped it to pieces.
Because, I see like the pictures of them now. Yeah, okay. Okay. That's kind of what I was picturing too. It's like Batboy. It's Batboy.
Yeah, dude. Galaxy Quest, those little fucking things terrified me so bad because they remember like, oh, it's hurt. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. And then they ripped it to shreds.
Yeah. Now I'm remembering this scene the more that you're describing it.
Dude, that scene messed me up as a child. Like, I was a small child when I watched Galaxy Quest. Love that movie to death to this day. That scene still makes me uneasy.
Like, there's just something that reaches way that deep in the core memory.
I haven't seen that movie in probably 10 years, and I remember that scene so vividly, bro.
Alright, so we're posted up with the Gill Monster Galaxy Quest Beast. Alright, slowly the hand began to recede. As the monster moved, I saw the light catch its wide jet black eyes. We waited to see what it would do next. Personally, I thought I was about to die. That it was pulling back before it pounced, playing with its food. I expected the creature to suddenly dart up the stairs and then drag me down to wherever it came from, like it tried to do with Auntie Tanya. Instead, it did something I never could have anticipated. The creature began to whistle. As it receded further down into the darkness, a tune I vaguely recognized went with it. It was some kind of slowed, eerie version of a sea shanty. It made my arm hairs stand on end. What I suddenly noticed, which made it all the more unnerving, was how it wasn't moving its mouth to whistle. It's whistling with its ass. But they stayed gritting. I couldn't figure out how he was doing it. It's coming from the back of him. I watched as it left more wet footsteps. Oh, the old stairs creaked as the creatures climbed down them. The creature climbed down them. I'm saying with singular. I watched as it left more wet footsteps in its wake. The wide grin was the last thing to go as the creature slowly disappeared into the darkness. But I could feel it was still there, just out of view, smiling, waiting. I imagined the creature slinking through one of the doorways. Maybe the one I'd first heard it mimicking me from, and then go further and further down into the cold, damp earth, down to wherever those corridors ended. Or maybe it lingered right at the bottom of the stairs, just out of view, obscured by the absence of light, waiting. It was Mike that moved first, dragging me out of the pub with such urgency it hurt my arm. Once we were out into the street, I finally got a look at him. I'd never seen him so afraid. I was almost guilty. I didn't feel the same. In truth, I felt calm and a little dazed. Although of course I was freaked out and the monster didn't attack us. So maybe that was its way of saying, yeah, sure, I'll leave you alone. Then just wanted to show off his whistling skills for some reason. Good logic.
I don't think we should come back here.
Mike shook his head.
What? What about my stuff?
I heard myself mumble.
Your stuff?
He turned to me furious.
There was a fucking monster in the basement and you're worried about yourself. No, you're right, I'm sorry.
His fear was starting to rub off on me now, especially as we started walking further up the road. I was starting to realize that there was something that drew me to the monster. What? She likes him. I was reminded of how much I almost opened the door as a child, and how I'd almost done it again the other day. I always felt the need to get closer, to know more. I did not like that at all. The thought that my instincts could be numbed, affected, contorted. It was more horrific than the monster itself. To know that you want to run, to know you should scream, but you can't, it didn't bear thinking about. Mike stopped in front of the bench and sat down. I watched him take a deep breath and look up at me. There was pure terror in his eyes. His eyes were dark brown like my grandmother's, and that made them look all the more wide and afraid.
Do you remember how people used to say there was a ghost of a pirate that sang sea shanties in the pub?
He asked, his entire body trembling. His words trembled too in a way that made him seem so far from the calm and stoic older cousin I knew. In his expression, I saw the little boy with night terrors again. My jaw dropped as I realized what he had said.
You think it's a creature?
I whispered, almost afraid to say it too loud. Mike nodded that he did indeed think that the creature that lurked in the basement and mimicked me had been mimicking a pirate too.
Well, I've been thinking as well.
Mike began, swallowing before he spoke.
About the Victorian lady and the boy who giggles. Oh my god.
I gasped, putting my hand to my mouth.
But then how do you explain... people saying they see him? Maybe it's shapeshifts or drunk people lie. You often find spooky things that have some truth to them. It gets twisted. Maybe people really did hear them things, and maybe the sea creature mimicked people. And then they just lied about it. A lot about saying things too because, well, it's a good story.
Whatever has made its home in my pub basement has clearly been there for long before me, mimicking people who've been dead for centuries now. I keep going back and forth about whether this thing is my enemy, a demonic entity, malevolent and to be exterminated, or whether it's a creature like any other without human morality, incapable of evil and acting as it naturally does. I wish I knew what it wanted. Maybe it was just hungry. Mike and I are going to have to speak to our grandfather. Dementia or not, I'm convinced the old man knows things he's been keeping from us. We should probably also ask around the town. Maybe speak to the local church. I'm not really sure where to go from here, but I'm glad Mike saw the creature too. I can't imagine carrying a weight like this alone. I no longer live at the pub, for now. I come and I work, but I'm never there alone, not even in the bar area. I really should tell my employees about the cellar, but I suspect I'm already on thin ice with them over all the absences and poor management. I've not been here a month, and already I've made a terrible impression. I will say, though, no one seems to have heard or seen anything when they go down there. This thing just wants to freak out me and my family for some reason. I've also started having night terrors, like Mike used to. I see the creature in my doorway at night. It's that smile that disturbs me most of all. If you've ever seen the old animated Alice in Wonderland movie where the cat's last thing to go is his smile, it was a bit like that. But instead of singing about the mome wraths, I don't know what the fuck that is. This creature's mouth doesn't move at all as it whistles eerie tunes. It makes sounds, but it doesn't speak.
Oh god, I'm in love with this story so far. This is just fantastic.
I really like this story too.
This is so
really,
good.
Really like this.
For just like another grab from our subreddit, dude, this is so far a banger. Like, we have 3 more parts left, and the first 2 parts were absolutely fire.
Yeah, I like this story so much. It's so intriguing to me. I definitely get the impression that there's more people in the town that are going to know a lot more. Just that's how these things go. But what do you think it is? What's your prediction already? Necrophiliac?
I don't know where you'd get that impression. I have never uttered the words necrophiliac in my entire life. No, so I think it's a necrophiliac.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't know, dude. I kind of like, I like this idea of this gremlin creature, and it's like a sea monster gremlin creature. I don't know what it is, but oh my god, I understand that you live in England, but I still feel the need to ask if your town is named Innsmouth. That's just that's the first comment.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. I'm thinking of Shadow over Innsmouth type thing going on here.
Yeah, no, I forgot about Shadow over Innsmouth. So, I mean, like, Fish People is a good direction, but I don't feel like it's Fish Person enough. I feel like it's enough, Gremlin, or, like I said, the fairies from Hellboy, or just, like, its own amalgamation of, because this is going in the vibe of, like, a very gothic European, like, could be, like, a Brothers Grimm style story.
It could be, because it went from being, like, there's a ghost in the bar to, like, there's some sort of, like, singular creature entity thing that's stalking the bar. So it seems like, almost like you said, like a Grimm's fairy tale or like a Witcher type thing.
Yeah, very Witcher-like or something like that. Because
it's like a regional tale.
Dude, somebody's stealing a car by your house right now?
That thing has been going off. Dude, that thing has gone off 300 times in the last 3 days.
Damn. I'll go make out with
they
him
won't
for him.
Fix it.
I'll just go. I'll kiss the car to make it stop. I'll just.
There we go.
And then I'll just like.
I'm about to go just throw a Molotov in the side of it, dude.
He got scared. I started talking about making out with it and it stopped.
Yeah, they got out there fast.
But no, I'm excited to see where this goes. Definitely. We'll roll into part 3.
The old man out of the pub always seemed like a bad idea to me. I was happy to take care of him and have him working alongside me, as was his routine for decades. But my Uncle Kevin, Mike's dad, thought it best for Granddad to move in with him. I have to confess, the reason I've put off speaking directly to Granddad was because it's too painful to be around him sometimes. It's terrifying to think that you can know your grandchild for 20-something years, help raise them, leave them your legacy, then look that grandchild in the eye, and be completely unable to remember who they are. Dementia took hold of him fast. One day he was forgetting old names to long-gone relatives. A few short years down the line, he can't recognize his own face. And to him, I'm just another face he doesn't know. Another face that moves in and out of his life like all the rest. His life, which he, for the most part, can't remember now. Except for those brief moments of clarity he has. It's almost more unnerving when he fades back into his old self for a little while. After these brief glimpses of the grandfather I knew, he fades away again, and whatever scrap of sensible conversation you shared dissipates from his decaying memory. You never know what sort of state you're going to find him in either. But he's always better in the mornings, hence why Mike and I were there at 10 a.m. That's probably too late. He's probably been up for a good 7 hours at this point already.
Dude, old people, bro, they get up early, dog.
Yeah, that's his, like, it's almost supper.
So there's like a 3-hour difference between where I live and where everybody else in my family lives. And my parents, if I call them, they're not up. But dude, if I call like one of my grandmas, dude, they've been up for like hours. I'll call like 11 or something. I know it's like 9 or it's like 8 o'clock there, and I'm like, ugh. But sometimes I'll call at 8 because I forget, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta call. My one of my grandmas will pick up. They will pick up. It'll be 5 a.m. there, but they're up and ready. They're about to go on a hike or something.
That's what I was about to say. She's like, honey, I'm at lunch. I have to call you back. You're like, what the fuck? The sun's not up.
Oh, it's me. Oh, it's Uncle Kevin. I don't think I've done Uncle Kevin yet. You better not set... I don't like that. You better not set him off with all this ghost bullshit.
Uncle Kevin said in a hushed, angry tone as he stood in the doorway. His cold blue eyes were fixed on us both, and when we moved through the hallway, his eyes followed. As if Mike couldn't be trusted in the house he was raised in, and as if we couldn't be trusted around our own granddad.
Like, back in time, right? We won't set him off, Dad,
Mike assured him. Uncle Kevin looked us up and down with pursed lips and held our gaze for a while. Finally, reluctantly, he moved out of our way and let us scoot past him into the front room. When we entered the room, Granddad was sitting watching TV. He caught us out of the corner of his eye and gave us a smile. But not the kind you'd give your own family, the kind you'd give a welcome stranger.
Oh, hello!
He said as he sat up and put his hand out for us to shake.
Are you friends of Kev? Yeah,
I replied cheerily, taking his hand. It felt good to hold it. It had been a long time since I'd been able to hold his hand, and...
This isn't back in time, by the way.
No.
I don't think. No, this is when they went to visit they were going to visit him in the home, but what threw me off was at the beginning where it says moving the old man out of the pub.
Yeah,
so in my head it was a throwback.
It was back in time.
Yeah, I felt like it was a throwback. I mean, it's not the author's fault. This is my retardation that did it.
Oh, so. It's okay. It took me a second to catch up. We record these back to back. The first time I ever went down into the cellar, I was holding his hand. The skin of his fingers was rough and cracked from years of DIY. He was a manual laborer before he...
Dick in Yoo-hoo.
Yeah,
my favorite thing. How many times have you gotten it stuck in a Yoo-hoo?
I already know that. Like at this point, I just lean into the dick jokes because I'm like, it's gonna come from the out of the screen and like fucking. I can see your smile cracking over here.
No, but like, do you think him and the necrophiliac were in the basement with their like clanking their Yoo-hoo glasses together?
This is his old this is his old buddy. This is old back to back.
Yeah, dude. Like the little creature from now I forgot, Galaxy Quest. The creature from Galaxy Quest, the necrophiliac, and him are having a Dick and Yoo-hoo contest.
Yeah, he's like, that's old Billy back to back. Oh, the times we had after close.
Oh, Billy back to back, and Billy who sleeps with people in graves.
He was a manual laborer before he bought the pub, and his large hand engrossed my own small 4-year-old hand completely.
Now, no, so this is where I guess it was back in time.
Okay. All right.
What do you do? What do you do?
He held it firmly. What the fuck is she inherited? Whatever. He held it firmly but gently as we descended the cellar steps. There was always so much thought in the old man's every move.
Dude, we're stupid because I made the dick joke and messed it up. But the first line is the first time I ever went down to the cellar. That's the first line of this paragraph. So it wasn't a flashback. Now it is a flashback.
I was holding his hand. The skin of his fingers was... Oh my god.
That's why I brought up the fact that I thought it was already a flashback, because this was a flashback, because I got lost.
We record these back to back, and we know how to read. Shut the fuck up at home. Shut the fuck up at home. I can hear you typing. Stop. Delete the comment, because we can't read them.
We didn't take like a 3-month break so Ben could write a video essay and get married. That is not what happened. Video essay, and it got 20 Congratulations, hypothetically.
Yeah. When that does happen, he held it firmly but gently as we descended the cellar steps. Firmly grasp it. There was always so much thought in the old man's every move, especially when it came to children. Hence why he took me down there himself to calm my fears. Because at 4, I had already decided I hated the cellar with every fiber of my being.
Do you live local?
He asked, snapping me out of my memory.
Yeah, down by the seafront.
I told him. Mike awkwardly took a seat on the cream leather sofa as I kept chatting to my grandfather, who had zero idea who I even was.
I can't say I've seen you, and I've lived here for years,
he said, taking a moment to think.
Just not in each other's circles, I suppose.
I jumped in, worried the pensive look on his face would warp into panic. He smiled and shrugged.
I guess not. Nice to meet you. You too. You own the local pub, don't you?
I asked him, trying to jog his memory.
Yes, but my son Charlie and his missus are running it for me today,
he informed me. Charlie is my father, who I haven't seen since I was 8.
Oh.
The less said about him, the better. Deadbeat.
Bro, what a great father, dude. I gotta go get some milk. Oh, I got to go get me some marmalade. Go get me some marmalade and some flickle wickle tickles, and I'll be back in a skipper lip.
You about used the cigarette word.
Oh, I'll go get me some ciggies. Some ciggies. They're also something else here in the land of England.
Like, I'll be back before I got to go get me some milk and some...
I gotta go get me the thing that gets me banned off YouTube. A bundle of sticks, one would say.
I don't usually like to leave them... Oh.
I don't usually like to leave them there alone, though, and I really ought to go home,
he said.
Why?
I took a seat next to Mike and leaned in to listen.
Well, my granddaughter doesn't like the basement, you say, and rightly so.
He nodded to himself. His tone became lowered, and I wondered if, for a moment, he knew what was happening, and why I was there. I tried not to get my hopes up, but like I said, he has moments of clarity.
Why's that?
I asked, feeling my heart start to pound. He was always on the verge of a mood swing, and this topic felt like a powder keg. He turned to look at me and put his hand on my shoulder. The sudden focus on his gray eyes and expression unnerved me. I almost got up and ran. But his hand was warm and safe. Okay, alright.
Because of him, of course,
he said in a whisper. I opened my mouth to reply, but then he turned his attention to Mike.
Gov!
He grabbed Mike's hand. Mike's eyes went wide with barely contained panic. Granddad got violent sometimes, and he was a very strong man.
Tell your brother to make sure he locks them doors,
he instructed my cousin.
Yes, Dad. Where the case of the doors?
Mike asked. I looked at him suspiciously. That sort of question seemed even worse than mine.
Your mum has them.
Nan has been dead since the 2000s. Breast cancer.
Mum?
Mike cocked his head sideways.
Yes, she'll be coming back from taking your sister Tanya to school any minute. So you ought to get your homework done before dinner. Alright, that's enough. Get out.
Uncle Kevin appeared from the hallway, where I assume he had been listening the whole time. Neither Mike nor I had thought to close the door. Kevin looked like he wanted to smack both our heads together. We got up from our seats, and Uncle Kevin frog marched us outside like two disobedient children. We did as we were told, knowing we were probably on the verge of giving the old man a meltdown. I already felt guilty, even though I had justified talking to him about it to myself over and over again.
Listen to the two of yous. You can fuck about with the spiritualist bullshit all you want, but keep it away from your grandfather.
He waggled his finger at us, scowling. Suddenly, Granddad appeared in the doorway behind Uncle Kevin. He'd managed to do so silently, and Kevin jumped in shock before cautiously moving out of his dad's way.
Mum, you forgot this!
He pulled a key out of his pocket and reached it out towards me. Trying to keep my composure, which was difficult when my own grandfather called me mother and gave me an expression of earnest love I can only assume is reserved for mothers, something I have never and don't plan on ever experiencing. I took the key from him. And gave him a thank you, accompanied by a kiss on the forehead, which made him beam at me before Uncle Kevin ushered him inside. Mike and I drove back most of the way in silence. I sat in the passenger seat, turning the newly acquired key over in my hand. It was a long brass key with an elegant design. It looked old. I'd never seen it before. Most of the pub's keys were quite modern due to the renovations.
What do you reckon he wanted this? Why do you reckon he wanted his mom to have this? She never lived at the pub, did she?
I asked Mike, who was staring at the road in a solemn daze.
No, she died before he even bought it,
he said without turning to me.
Shall we try it on the doors?
I suggested.
Yeah, if we can get down there.
Do you reckon we have any hope of getting the key for the rest of them if he doesn't even remember where they were?
Mike shrugged.
Can we talk about something else, please?
We changed the subject to something lighthearted until we were back by the seafront. But once the drive was over, I couldn't resist the urge to keep decoding what Granddad had said to us.
I reckon we ought to go talk to someone else. Someone that can go down there with us.
Mike molded over.
I reckon if someone else is meant to go down with us, they'll show up in one way or another. I'd rather not go and rope someone else into this on purpose. What if someone volunteers? No problem asking.
You tricky bitch.
We probably don't want word getting around that we've got a sea monster in the bottom of a pub. Seems like bad for business. True, but business hasn't always been that great anyway. What with the shitty management, what have we got to lose? I've just got a bad feeling. See, I feel the opposite. What you mean? Just that. I have a good feeling. I stood tall holding... Oh, fuck. Just that. I have a good feeling.
I stood tall, holding my chin high. Mike looked at me for a while. Dude, have you ever seen... Alright, I have to interrupt myself. Have you seen that It's Always Sunny where it's like Charlie, or like Mac like is talking to like Charlie and Danny DeVito, and as soon as he's like, I won't do it, I promise. Like that, and Charlie's like,
yeah.
His neck is very high. Like, he's like, I trust him. That's exactly what I got right there. She's like, just that I have a good feeling. And he's like,
I guess I believe you.
Yeah. I stood tall, holding my chin high. Mike looked at me for a while as if he was trying to figure me out. He also had that melancholic look he always gets after talking to Granddad.
Jesus Christ, I got lost again. There we go.
Do you want to go on a walk along the beach for a bit?
Asked gently.
That would be great.
Mike sighed, then smiled. We took a detour down to the beach, got some beers, and spent the rest of the day chilling on the sand. Chilling. Mike began to cheer up eventually once we started talking about the kind of things he likes to yap about when he's under the influence. In the evening, I wonder what that is.
Dude. Alright.
And he gets like really political.
No.
No? Okay, alright.
He just talks about the only British show worth watching, Taskmaster. He's a big tax fan.
Did you see...
like a savant level. Yeah.
Did you see Johnny Vegas on Taskmaster? Fucking hilarious. Brilliant. He was so good. Did you see season 5, episode 4 of fucking Taskmaster? It's so fucking brilliant.
Dude, Miss Evil Dr. Potter is like gonna be like, you guys fucking slaughtered my story.
It's not a bad story either. It's pretty good. I like it. It's got a thing. It's
really good. I love it.
I mean,
I like Mike. Mike is awesome.
Well, dude, Mike, I feel like I'm voicing Mike pretty accurate to how Mike would be. Mike is such a fucking I just guess I'll do what I'm kind of spooked out by this. I got my chilies and a shivy billies.
He's got that he's got the moments of clarity too, though. Like he's got the superpower where she's like, we need to go ask people to come help us out with this, and he's like, yeah, let's maybe not run all over town and tell people that we think there's a fucking sea monster in our basement. Like, how about that?
I love him. I don't think I've ran into a character that I haven't liked in this story. I don't think there's anything I haven't liked in this. I like that it's a sea monster. It's got the shadows over... What is it? Shadows over Innsmouth?
Yeah, Shadows over Innsmouth. Look, I always get that confused with Dunwich Horror, because those are like some of the only Lovecraft stories I've actually read.
Which one's the one with the is the Dunwich Horror the one with the sea people that have...
No, Dunwich Horror is the inbred family in the mountains.
Okay, yeah.
They're the weird religious family in the mountains.
I remember now.
The Innsmouth look is where people begin to all start to get like the weird shapes and stuff like that.
Well, that's because they were having sex with the fish, if I remember right.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were fucking the fish.
Which, we judge, but Anyway,
I wonder
in
if it
the
was an
evening-
allegory. Hold on. I wonder if it was an allegory for his aunt not letting him or forcing him to divorce his wife. Because
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, but he was super racist, and so was his family. And he had to divorce his wife because she was one of the Jews. I'm not gonna say what kind of doctor it is. It's a Jewish doctor,
right.
but
I'm not gonna say what my wife is.
she's Jewish.
She's just
And he's like, the fish people. It came
I'm not gonna say what
around.
my wife is. She's a crab person.
She's a fish person.
I love that. Yeah, in the evening, we walked across the beach watching the sunset and the moon come up while the two of us made plans for the future. It's your cousin.
I reckon we turn the pub into a gay bar and turn the town into New Brighton.
He suggested.
Not sure the pensioners would like that.
The retirees.
That's the point. I hate those stuck-up cunts around here. Well, that's the point. I hate the stuck-up cunts around here. Aside from our patrons, of course. Actually, no, some of them were rude to us growing up. They used to say horrible things about my mum behind her back.
Well, your mum was.
Yeah, I know, but still.
What the fuck? Bro.
You're right, the place is clicky. You're right, the place
Yeah.
is clicky. I wonder what made Granddad move here. I guess it was different back in the day.
It was the fish poon, bro.
Yeah.
Mike looked at me a bit surprised with a smile on his face.
You don't know.
No, I guess I never thought to ask.
This is where Great Nan Bay was evacuated to because her grandparents lived here.
Oh, of course.
I snapped my fingers as the story clicked into place.
I knew Seaside. I didn't realise it was this Seaside.
Well, I only know because my dad told me, to be fair.
You know, Grandad never really spoke about the stuff until recently.
He was always alive in the moment. He was always a live in the moment type of man. Hence packing up everything and moving to Seaside.
And marrying Nan a month after he met her.
That was one of my favorite stories, and one of the few he would tell about the past. Mike's smile turned solemn again.
We shouldn't talk about him like he's dead.
They weren't. Anyway, I nodded.
You're right.
Once you reach the end of the sandy beach, you get to some cliffs. Let me start that. Once you reach the end of the sandy beach, you get to some cliffs. These cliffs have caves in them that were strictly warned not to explore as kids because they were prone to rock falls. Yeah, right. They do tours down there sometimes. It's an important geological site. And also, secretive spaces like that attract adults that, well, want a private space. So, of course, we were allowed to go...
The sex
Of course,
caves.
when we were allowed... Sex caves. The dogging caves.
Oi!
That's where I took your Nan B.
You mean the
Mike,
fault-
your mom was always there.
Your mum was always there. She was always getting some bloke's bollocks off. Yeah, she'd come
They called
out
him
there
Cave
looking
Mike.
like a glazed donut, I swear.
What? I lost my spot because we started going in on Mike's mom. It's an important geological site. People are banging. Yes. So, of course, when we were allowed to go to the beach ourselves as tweens, we would go there and look around. Ew. But both Mike and I were too pussy to properly explore the caves. So instead, we hung around outside them all the time and occasionally dared someone else to go in. Fucking pussies. I got quite far into it once when I was a teenager. The whole family was having a day on the beach. I was about 13 with my braces, baggy Arctic Monkeys t-shirt, and skinny jeans in August. Oh god, you suck. It was the mid-2010s. And that was cool. Oh, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was cool. The style at the time.
Yeah.
I thought she was just saying like it was the mid 2010s, which was cool.
Everyone had
Mike-
skinny jeans because they all thought that they were going to be a skateboarder. They were
That's
playing
true. I was a
way-
very fat skateboarder.
Yeah, dude.
I could not skate.
Dude, no one was skateboarding. Like there were like 3 people who were actually skateboarding. Everybody else was wearing skateboarding stuff because Rob Dyrdek owned MTV. There was Jackass on TV. I mean, it was just like it was the era. All the bands that were popular had skinny jeans. Every single one, dude. Like it was like Blink 182. Forever the Sickest Kids. Who else? I'm missing somebody. Fall Out Boy, All American Rejects. Like it was that era, dude. It was skinny jean era, dude. I mean, I had myself a pair of skinny jeans. I was fat as fuck, and they were sagged a bit too. It sagged a bit with the flap rim.
That's why I was saying like, oh my god, you suck, is because this was I recognized this person. I was like,
dude, it was so bad.
I know who this is, and I know for a fact they suck.
Oh yeah, dude. No. I was like, oh, everybody else is doing this. I gotta do this, dude. I gotta fit in, dude. When you're the fat kid, like, I was just like, oh, but when you're the chuggy guy, you're like, I'm gonna do what everybody else is doing so that I can just say a lot of jokes and then they laugh and then they like me.
I got even worse than that. Eventually, I was the fat poet kid in suits.
Oh, gay!
I was the guy with the
so
suits.
Gay, dude.
Yep. I didn't have a fedora, but there was basically like a hypothetical fedora, like at all times. I was a little Redditor. I wasn't even on Reddit, but I was a little Redditor. Trust.
The skinny jeans days were like me in middle school, dude. Me in middle school, and I hit high school. I'm like, all right, this has been about enough, dude. I was bad. It was a bad era. But
I think I probably went back to the baggy jeans in high school because that's when I was really into like Eminem and shit.
Yeah, no. I went to baggy because I was like listening to a lot of Tech 9. Yeah, dude. Tech 9 was the shit.
Tech
9? Tech 9?
Oh my god. Dude, I go to his concert like every year.
No, do you really? I've never been to a Tech 9 concert. I actually am not the biggest. I'm not the biggest rap concert fan because it's so fucking roll the dice on whether it's the most dog shit concert you've ever gone to, or because sometimes they'll just stand there and talk to you and let music play behind them, and I'm like.
Occasionally that happens. Tech 9 concerts are strange. He only ever does like a part of a song.
Oh, but he does a lot.
I mean, of course, like he does a ton.
Yeah. Hank Williams Jr. did that.
Shit.
Hank Williams Jr. did that. He did a bunch of parts of songs because that dude has been alive for like 80,000 years. But
the opening acts are usually pretty good. They're hit or miss. Like I saw King ISO. He was awesome. And there was also Mayday, and they were awful. I don't like Mayday, though. I don't like Mayday.
I remember Mayday. I never listened to their stuff back in the day. But
I would have preferred it be like Cess Crew or something like that. If it was going to be like a cringe duo, that would be fucking cool if it was Cess Crew.
The last concert I went to was I went to a couple rap concerts, but the last one was it was like a big fest. It wasn't like a festival, but it was like a bunch of like mainline artists, and they only The headliner was The Game, and he was great. Yeah. E40 was there. He was fantastic. Too Short was fucking amazing. Fat Joe fucking sucked, dude. Fuck Fat Joe, dude.
He probably had his fucking oxygen mask on the whole time. He can't rap with his oxygen mask.
He just walked up, dude, Fat Joe. Well, he's skinnier now.
Oh.
He's like skinnier now. He's not as big as he used to be. He's like him and Rick Ross are both the decent, like normal sized people now. They're still big guys, but he fucking talked the whole time about different burger joints in there. Dude, you guys got some good burger joints. Oh, dude, I've been checking out that real Portland shit, dude. And then it's like,
and everyone's like, you're skinny.
Yeah, he's like, yo, did you know, I'm from New York, dude. I'm from fucking New York. And then he did one song, and then it was, I'm from fucking New York, dude. Look at me. I'm Fat Joe, and I'm from New York. And it's like, he was so, dude, I couldn't wait for that fucker to get off the stage, dude. He just, the only time I've ever had somebody that annoying was, hey, Dahlia, what was the guy that played before Akon?
Before Akon.
What? Jesse McCartney. Fuck that goon bag, bro.
I don't even know who this is.
Jesse McCartney? He did a Beautiful Soul. Every fucking white bitch's panties were soiled to that song, dude. I didn't know who he was either. I was there for Akon. Akon fucking slapped. Akon is one of the best performances I've ever seen anybody do. It's like what my favorite concert I ever went to is a tie between Hank Jr. and Akon, dude. Both those guys fucking lit that stage on fire. Jesse McCartney was so bad, the entire audience was chanting Akon.
That's awesome.
He's like, I wrote this song for Taylor Swift. It was a #1, went platinum. Everyone's like, Akon.
That's awesome.
Dude, he didn't even get, like, he the only time that people weren't chanting Akon is when he played Beautiful Soul, and then as soon as he got done, it was just back to chanting Akon. He didn't get an encore or anything. It was just, Akon.
That is fucking awesome. We got way off track.
No, 100%. We're in a
people
hole
with that. But anyway,
yeah.
Arctic Monkey shirt, finger cave.
It was 2010s, dude. It's the 2010s, mid-2010s.
Yep, and it was cool. It was cool that it was the 2010s. Mike and I had wandered off to go take swigs from the bottle of vodka we swiped from the picnic basket.
Do you reckon these were smuggler caves back in the day?
Mike asked me as he handed me the bottle, his voice hoarse from swigging neat vodka. I took a swig myself, barely kept it down, then told him.
Oh, they had to be. Do you think there could be still... Do you think there could still be stuff down there?
Mike laughed.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I couldn't tell if he was being sarcastic or not.
What do you actually think there could be?
I asked naively.
Maybe there might be a crate of some super old expensive rum or something.
Really?
Well, you never know. If there's anything like that down there, it'll be super well hidden now.
Reckon I should have a look.
I goaded.
Go on, odds on.
5.
If you don't know how to play odds on, it's a British game of sorts where you dare someone to do something and then they give you a number for how likely they are to do it. The lower the number, the more likely you are to do it, because then the person being dared and the one doing the daring say a number at the same time. In this case, they pick any number between 1 and 5. And if they say the same number, the person has to do it. Look it up if you still aren't sure. I have a story to tell. We counted down, and I blurted out a number. We both picked 5. If I pussied out now, I'd never live it down. So I took a second swig, coughed from the horrid taste, before I handed the bottle back to Mike. I took a deep breath that tasted like sand sanitizer. I'm sticking with it. And began trudging across. That's how the British say it. And began trudging across the moist, rocky sand floor of the cave, which began to squelch underfoot as the sun disappeared. Soon the sand turned into rock, and the light started growing even dimmer and more distant. I used my phone torch to light my way. The cave gets flooded whenever the tide is in, meaning the rocks were still glistening with moisture in the bright white light of my phone torch. I took some time to search some of the nooks and crannies, just so I kept to the dare of looking for old smuggler's rum. I hadn't been exploring for that long when I came across a huge fallen rock blocking my way through the previously walkable tunnel. But I could peek over the top of said rock. I placed my hands on the cold stone and hoisted myself up to get a good look, using a smaller rock underneath as leverage. If I was a little taller, I might have been able to scale it. The sounds of me shuffling echoed through the cave and made me uneasy. That was the only sound I could hear other than the very distant beach sounds of waves and seagulls.
Go on! Odds on!
Mike shouted again. I could hear his footsteps crunching somewhere nearby, but it didn't sound like he was necessarily behind me, just in the cave somewhere close by. I chalked it down to the echo of the caves.
Yeah, there's a blockage. I'm having a look, then I'll come back.
I called to him, my voice resounding off the rock. I shone my phone torch into the darkness on the other side of the boulder. The tunnel went on as far as the light would reach. It was upheld with decaying wooden beams, a little like a mine shaft. In the far distance, I could make out that the cave split off into multiple paths. It seemed too obvious to be a smuggler cave. Maybe the beams were a later addition. Personally, I wouldn't hide my stolen goods in such an obvious tunnel. I let my light linger in the quiet darkness for a little longer, letting the image of the darkened tunnel settle in my mind. After waiting a while and not seeing anything in the distance that looked like a crate of rum or a treasure chest, I hopped down from the boulder and walked back. Mike, who I assumed had walked in a little, hence the footsteps I heard, then walked back out once he realized I was fine, was waiting at the mouth of the cave with an eager grin on his face.
Yeah, I couldn't say anything. I don't actually think these are smugglers' caves. You were in there for ages,
He said, looking me up and down suspiciously.
Was I? Yeah, like a half hour. That's not long,
I said, even though my time in the cave felt like 5 minutes, or possibly less.
Felt long. I started worrying about you, but I didn't want to shout or go in case someone came over. You did call after me. You said odds on again. No or never. Oh, don't be a dickhead.
I tried to kick the back of his knee, and he matched my attack with a poke to the ribs, which descended into a tipsy brawl between us. What in the Three Stooges is this?
Dude, they're about to have
Mike
cousin
refused-
sex, bro. I swear to God.
Dude,
this
there is
cousin
tension.
sex. There's a tension here, bro.
Yeah, there's
Dude,
a little
this
bit of
is-
tension, dude. Like,
Sweet home Alabama.
well, this is- yeah, they keep mentioning Brighton.
Long home, dear.
Dude, it's
I
gonna
don't
be,
know, man.
this
This
story's
is
gonna end in
little-
Alabama with Mike plowing her out, dude. Oh no, come out home.
This is how they scare off the sea monster.
Yeah, dude.
Mike?
Well, he's got a sea monster in his pants.
She wants to see monster.
Yeah, good wordplay.
Thank you. Mike refused to admit he'd shouted into the cave. I didn't believe him. No, it's a euphemism. I didn't believe him back then, but now I'm not so sure. As we stood looking at the mouth of the caves, I thought about asking Mike whether it was him after all, but I didn't want the answer. I feel like I know what that answer is.
Oh, Frank.
Mike began to speak. I felt him take a hold of the sleeve of my hoodie. I looked over at him. I'd started walking toward the cave.
Oh, Frank, we should leave. Yeah.
I like that you just turned him into like British Shaggy.
Oh,
Zoinks,
no!
Mike.
When you were talking about what he was earlier, and you were talking about like how he like had this like voice of reason thing, I'm like, bro, he's Shaggy in my head. He's been Shaggy
yeah.
for the longest time.
Oh, where's more Scooby Tree? Scooby snack. My wife is correcting me from the kitchen. It's a Scooby snack.
Thank you.
Thank you, my beautiful wife. She's an Arab queen.
Yes. Yeah. My gaze drifted from the cave and over to the sea. The tide was going further and further out as the moon rose.
Oh my god, dude! I have an idea. They're going to get naked.
I beamed at him, feeling the dots connect in my head.
Oh.
We've got to get
Yeah.
to the pub.
I began running across the beach when suddenly I stopped.
Wait, I have to ask you something to prove my theory. Was it you that called after me when we were kids when I went into the cave?
Yeah, I was messing with you.
He admitted.
Uh-huh. And the tide was out, wasn't it?
Yeah?
I nodded and started speed walking again with Mike following close behind. We rushed through town, dodging pensioners on their evening stroll and dog walkers. The pub was full of the usual patrons, and my crew were busy at work. She is a terrible boss. Feigning our calmness, Mike and I casually walked through the bar and then disappeared behind the door to the living quarters. This is so fucking... Anyway.
Wait,
that
hold
was
on.
the
Is she a
cellar.
terrible boss or like a great boss who hired the perfect employees to run her business?
Oh, yeah, maybe she's hands-off. Maybe, yeah, maybe
dude.
she's
I
not
mean,
a
if
dick.
she's like a hands-off boss that already knows, like, she's like, they're gonna run my shit fucking squeaky clean, brother. I'm gonna go upstairs and fucking slam my roast beef pan sandwich and just like get those lips a quivering while they make me money. I mean, that sounds like the life to me.
Ignore the ocean smell. But
Oh,
also,
dude, they can't ignore the ocean smell. They're on the coast, brother. So whether it's in her bedroom or outside, you're getting fucking the smell of ocean and fish.
No, it's like she was making such a big deal about having to like call off or like switch a shift or something like that in an earlier part that it just seems kind of weird that like she made that like huge fuss about it and now she's just like showing up mid shift.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
anyway,
I mean, when you're dealing with a fucking sea monster in your basement, all your logic goes out the window. Are you gonna be thinking about like your work and how it's gonna be functioning if your work has a fucking sea monster from Galaxy Quest in it?
that is true. That it's hard to argue with that. There was the cellar. No, sorry. There was the cellar. Dark and cold as usual. But I knew I had nothing to fear down there now. Not until the tide came in. Without turning the light on, I thumped it down the steps and down into the dark cellar. Mike followed me without hesitation. That's how I knew I was on the right track, because if he truly thought I was being stupid, he wouldn't have followed me. I stood in the bottom of the dark cellar in silence. A part of me, for a moment, thought I'd gotten it wrong, that the monster didn't come up with the tide, but instead dwelt here all the time, that I had fed myself and Mike to it inadvertently. While lost in panicked thought, Mike touched my shoulder and I yelped before I burst out laughing. He laughed as well. I went and turned on the light.
I can't believe it!
He smiled.
So as long as the tide's out, is it down here?
She
Apparently
goes and turns on the
so.
light and Mike's just fully nude.
It's time to see more nipples! Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, for the monster thing! That's why we're down here, yeah.
We're not here to play with each other's genitals.
Curiously, I looked over at the old wooden door with the cracks. I put my hand in my pocket and felt the cold brass key that Granddad had handed to me. Biting my lip, I turned it over between my fingers as I pulled it out, looking at it in the yellow light of the cellar's hanging light bulb. My face tightened into a nervous expression. I looked up at Mike. I'm just kidding. Over at Mike, who gave me a quick, encouraging nod. I stepped across the cement floor and over to the door. Inhaling a steadying breath, I placed the key in the lock and tried to turn it. It was the wrong key.
Well, shit.
Yeah, you thought that, we thought that we were getting somewhere.
Twin, you just messed up, twin. Twin, that's the wrong keyhole, twin.
Better start digging in your old butt for that key.
You better dig in that butt for you on that, twin. That's the key to your cousin's
Yeah.
chastity belt, twin. Do you have to pee really, really bad? Give me a second.
Dude, if I catch her, she doesn't like being lifted. But that's Miss Ruby. And
I'm talking to the baby.
Well, why are you talking to me right now?
Because you're.
Mr.
I want to talk to you now.
Soldier.
Hey, don't talk like you know me, woman.
Cat intermission.
I do know you.
You want to help us read a story? No?
I won't
You're
believe it
tired?
until a jury of your peers proves it.
Alright, fine. I'll put you back.
I don't know, dude. Maybe figure it out. Use some of that. Use some of that Arab mind magic to figure this shit out. No, you can keep telling me it's not a thing, but if the Jews have money magic, the Arabs have mind magic.
Well, there goes my cat intermission.
I don't know. Because I made it up.
No, I did a whole cat intermission where I was just grabbing up all the cats around me and showing them to the camera. And I was like, that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool time filler. And then you just come back in and you're like, use your Arab mind magic to figure out why the fuck Jews control everything. And I was like, well, there goes my cat intermission. Like, we're cutting all that. Like,
Did you not hear the Arab mind magic?
yeah. It started off rough. That's what I'm saying. It started off like, what the fuck? And then you were like, the Jews! Oh, yeah, man.
Well, if I want to throw shade at the Arabs, I gotta also throw shade at the Jews, dude.
That's true, I guess. So what did you think of this part, man?
Oh no, I like
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I think this is going great, dude. I'm like so into this. Like all jokes and terrible British accents aside, dude, I'm steady fucking with this.
That's what I mean. Is like I keep just thinking about like shit. Like the lady sent us the story because she wanted us to read it, so she knows what our story, what our style is. And I guess this might be a like a compliment to have your story stepped all over by us and eviscerated and making dick and incest jokes the whole time.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I look at I'm never a good boy. Like, I'm a goblin. I've always been a goblin. I'm a morbidly obese man that sits here and makes stupid jokes and I literally wrote a foot rub story on our subreddit, which I think I've said in a previous episode, but it's on there. So if you ever feel bad, like if I'm putting the piss out of you a little too hard,
taking the piss.
I just want you to know I wrote a shitty story about like my ceiling getting ripped up and a demon rubbing feet, and then I'm just being chill with it. The story literally ends with him just being cool with it. It's dog shit. I wrote it while watching TV, so these people are leagues better than I am. Just being able to put this shit to the page is going to be like cool. So if we take the piss out on you a little bit, dude, like it's all love and fun, dude. We're just happy that people post on our shit and want us to read their shit. But
and we will send you a mocking video back, like, did we take the piss too hard?
Oh!
I'm just obsessed. I have that freeze frame again from It's Always Sunny of them being like, "Oh, did somebody do this?" or whatever.
Dude, speaking about freeze frames, dude, I was editing one of our, I think it was the last episode, and I forgot that because I hadn't edited an episode in so long that I'd forgotten that your camera froze at one point, and I'm just making diabolical jokes. I kept it in. Don't worry, I kept it in. They're bad, but I kept it in. It was I was just like, oh my god, dude. And then like when you said the thing about the cat cam a little bit ago, dude, I was like, oh, he's being all cute and shit, and I was talking about vagina monsters and Cthulhu penis men when you're not there.
Well, I floundered, and my go-to is always a cat. So you just wave a cat at the camera, and
yeah, dude,
somebody's gonna like that.
Mine just like are fucking attention whores. They love being behind me.
I know. I need to move that thing because I got plenty of cats all posted up. Soldier is. Oh, he moved off the gun case. He was laying on the gun case. It was.
Dude,
so
what kind
sweet.
of gun do you have?
That's my AR-15.
What kind? Let's get.
Radical.
Oh, it's radical, dude. That's pretty radical. I got a sick tread.
Well, you know what? We have basically the same gun, except mine is just made with worse materials, but the same exact specs, like the exact same specs with like no, I don't know actually about that 100%, but I know that it's got the SIG design. Like
then it's the tread. The M400 is the tread.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, mine just said like mine says tread, and it's got an American flag with a little snake on it. But it's not it's like a combination of the American flag and the Gadsden flag, which is really cool. And it says tread on the side. The reason I went with SIG was I was working at a hunting and fishing store, and SIG had a pro program for the hunting department, and because I was like one of the managers, I was also considered hunting department as well, so I got it for like a fucking smoking deal. I love that gun really too, dude. Except for I'd never sighted in a red dot before, so I didn't know those little rubber things on the side. I thought it was just a rubber dial, like a regular scope. So me and my dad were trying to sight it in, and I just kept fucking spinning that. And we're like, it's not working, and then the cap fell off.
Well, yeah, that's I think you're supposed to spin the cap off, and then you make the adjustments with the little stick. And I think the cap is just a cover piece. But I'm not sure.
But it had a little thing on it that like looked like it was adjusting there. And me and him, we didn't do it very long because the cap fell off like pretty quick. But we were like, what? Yeah, dude, sighting in that red dot, we felt pretty stupid. It was like the dumbest. Me and him both looked at each other like we were the stupid. We've been shooting guns our whole life, and that was the stupidest thing we've ever done.
I have not been. I've been shooting like 4 times, and then the last time that we went, the last time we went, I was the most experienced one.
Oh,
So
no.
I was just making all sorts of mistakes on the range, and the fucking the safety, the RSO was just hanging out with us pretty much. He's like, you guys just want me to do like a gun thing, like a little gun course for you real quick, and we're like, yeah, man, go ahead. But
Dude,
yeah,
every time I go shooting, I'm basically the RSO.
yeah,
That's what happens every time. I'm like,
point. I guess at a certain point when we turned away, the guy turned to somebody else and was like, "Fucking new people," or something like that. Like he was just like he was not that gracious with us, but whatever. He saved lives. And I love it. Like,
it's so much
because like
fun.
he even asked me, because I have a red dot on the top of mine, but I've never taken it to get sighted in because it's such a rare thing for me to go. And like he was like when he was like stancing up with it and stuff, he was like, do you guys want me to turn the red dot on here? And I was like, no, it's not sighted. We're just using the iron sight, like the flip ups. And he was like, oh my god, dude. And just like turned around and like shot once with it. And I was
dude,
like, yeah,
when I got my
man.
red dot, I put it on right away, and me and my dad sighted it in. But I mean, I was traveling. I was already traveling, and I was like going down to my hometown, which was at the time 11 hours away. And I just bought it. I was like, dude, I'm gonna take this down with me, with some of my other guns. Me and my brother-in-law, my dad. We all hunt and shoot and stuff. So I was like, oh, we'll have a range day, because I was gonna be there for like 5 days. And I was like, oh, it'll be a good time for me to sight this into. And oh my god, dude, I was like having like a red dot sight, and I was like, oh, I feel so cool, dude. I'm so fucking tactical, bro.
I think that they will help me the next time that I go, because I got like a membership thing, so now I can go whenever I want to and
Hell
shoot
yeah,
unlimited
dude.
range time for free. Yeah,
Hell yeah, dude.
because
Guns are
I'm
fun
getting
as
more
shit.
into it.
Dude, it's so
Yeah.
much fun, dude. I've been shooting since my daughter has my first gun. It's not over there, but I don't know why I'm pointing over there. But my first gun.
It's in her room. It's in her.
Yeah,
crib.
it's that little kitchen over there. It's got a
If
gun.
she just came waddling by in the background with like a 22, like bolt action or something,
She's
dude, that
got
would've been
she's got the little it's called a cricket or a gopher or a chipmunk. It's called a chipmunk. And so my dad brought me my old chipmunk. It's not a chipmunk.
This is my handgun that I'm really proud of.
What is that?
This is a Beretta Neos 22.
Oh,
Dude, this thing is so fucking fire, dude. Oh my god.
that is pretty cool.
I love this gun.
That is a cool
Dude,
looking
I love
gun.
this gun so much. Dude, that thing needs furniture on it, man. I need to put a big old scope on it. Big old optic.
We got derailed so hard.
We did.
Talking
We
about
talk about guns and bands and everything else. All right. Pot 4.
It's the wrong bloody key.
I exclaimed, yanking it out of the lock.
Huh?
I know. What the fuck?
Wait a second. Wait. Grandad said they were with Nan, didn't they?
Mike asked. I nodded. He bit his lower lip and thought for a second.
I think I have an idea of what he meant.
He said with a boyish smile.
Do you mean
I felt my stomach start to churn.
we go dig her up?
I stepped back away from him, wondering whether the stress had gotten to him and finally broke his psyche. Mike looked at me bemused before he burst out laughing.
Oh, no, you lemon! Come on!
He beckoned for calling someone a lemon is awesome. He beckoned for me to follow him before excitedly bounding up the stairs. This guy changes gears a lot. I climbed up the stairs after him and switched off the light as we came to the top. He ran up the other set of stairs too. Curiously, I watched him as he led me into Grandma's bedroom at the end of the hallway. I decided not to change anything about my grandma's bedroom, just in case he ever moved back in. About Granddad's bedroom. Granddad's bedroom at the end of the hallway, yeah. Just in case he ever moved back in. And because I liked it the way he had it. On his bookshelf sat a few pictures of relatives. A framed photo of me, Mike, and our other cousins as children sat right at the top. Then his pictures of his own children, at varying ages, aside from my piece of shit father, were scattered around the shelf. Dude, her dad's the fish guy.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
so were
sick.
pictures of that. It's got to be.
The
So were pictures of
necrophiliac
his
just
wife.
had so much sex with him that he became a fish man.
No, there was a fish in the corpse.
Oh, dude, he. What was that movie, dude? Walrus or whatever. Tusk. He tusked him, dude. The necrophiliac tusked him. He decided to keep him alive and then just turned him into a sea person.
It's that House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah,
Fish boy.
Fish boy. But that way he can fill his semen with semen.
It's like the lighthouse.
Yeah.
We got so many references, man.
The birds have the birds have the souls of sailors.
Look at ye.
Look at
Post
you.
and cringe. and so were pictures of his wife. I'm not going to go back into context. She was a very beautiful woman with light brown curly hair and very blue eyes. I don't remember her at all, since she died when I was just a baby. But when you're constantly hearing about someone and you're surrounded by images of them, as well as them making up a quarter of your DNA, it's easy to feel like you know them. I smiled at her. At least she thinks it's her DNA. It's Fishman DNA, man, I'm telling you. Mike gently took the brass key from my hand as he scanned the bookshelf. I wondered if he knew of a secret disguised book. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. What he was going to unlock.
That was how the sentence is written. The sentence is written
Okay,
as,
all right. I'm just
I
making sure.
didn't know about that he was going to unlock.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure I'm not having a stroke, because if it happens, it's probably going to be on camera. So, all right.
But
Carefully.
here's why it messed up. Because the first part of the sentence is, I wonder if he knew of a secret disguised book I didn't know about, comma, that he was going to be unlocked. They just forgot a comma.
No, I gotcha. Okay. Carefully, he picked up a photograph of my grandmother, which sat on top of an old locked wooden jewelry box.
Oh, I see.
I said in a mock detective voice.
Oh, that wasn't a
Mike
mock detective
tapped the
voice. I got this. Oh, I see. That's better.
Mike tapped the side of his nose. It's cocaine. I felt incredibly stupid for not even thinking about that box. But it was one of those everyday household items you take for granted. They blend into the scenery of the room and become unremarkable. I watched Mike take the box off of the shelf and lay it on Granddad's bed. Then he put the key into the lock, and sure enough, we heard a promising click as it opened.
Ta-da!
He said, moving aside for me to open it. I rolled my eyes at him and stepped forward to look at the box. As I lifted the lid, a dulcet tune began to play, and a little mermaid sprung up and began to spin in circles.
Oh,
Fish boy!
Yeah.
I recognized the tune, but had no idea where it came from. Dude, bro, this is Dunwich, bro. Or this is Innsmouth.
Where have I heard that before?
I asked, smiling a little, trying to remember whether it was a lullaby or something old and famous. Mike made a tense expression.
Oh my god.
He mumbled under his breath.
What?
I turned sharply to look at him. He put his hands in his pocket, and his eyebrows knotted together.
It's the tune the monster was humming.
He said. We both shared a tired and pained expression. I looked back down into the box. It mostly held old pieces of jewelry, but as I lifted out the first compartment of the box, it revealed another hidden one underneath. There was the set of keys glinting up at us. On the set was a key made of heavy blackened wrought iron. I knew instantly that it belonged to the door. My Uncle Kevin, who's a massive history dork, believes you can feel the history in certain objects. I never really understood what he meant by that until I lifted the iron key out of the box and felt the weight of it in my hand. It felt so cold. Oh,
Her Uncle Kevin picks up like George Washington's teeth. He's like,
I can feel him sucking on my cock.
yeah, he waits. He's like looking around and making sure like the room clears out.
dude.
Feel the history.
History.
I imagine that's somewhere like somewhat high on like the history dork bucket list of like a British person would be to try to get George Washington's dentures around your dick. You fucking traitor!
How could you do this to me?
I fucked Judas. I never really understood. Oh, okay, yeah. It felt so cold. Colder than the other keys. In a silence, as heavy as that wrought iron key, Mike and I descended back down into the cellar and walked to the door. My hands began to tremble as I tried to place the key into the lock. I missed it at first, which Mike usually would have found funny, but in this case only increased the tension weighing on us both. On my second try, I managed to fit the key into the lock, and summoning all my willpower, I turned it. There was a heavy clunk from the lock. The sound made me wince. Then the door swung forward by itself, heavy on its hinges. Staring both Mike and I in the face was a fish boy! No, was a tunnel carved into the earth. Neither of us could form any words as we stared into the empty blackness. But this didn't feel cold and empty like the darkness of the cellar. It was earthy and old, a darkness left to rot in the moist underground. It had a smell. Damp. Acrid. I took a step forward, eager to go in, to find answers, to have my theory confirmed. But before I could disappear into the tunnel, Mike grabbed my collar and yanked me back.
Have you gone insane?
He yelled, his face white with terror. He's like,
What? Did you say something?
I asked a little too eagerly, looking back over it to the tunnel, expecting a smile to be waiting for me in the dark.
No, but look at it. Don't go in there. You have no idea what's in there.
He is so shaggy,
yelled.
dude. He is so shaggy.
he is
He's
shaggy,
100% shaggy.
But hey, she ain't no fucking Freddy herself, man, because she's like, when she was a kid, with the skinny jeans and the Arctic Monkeys t-shirt, she thought to pull out her cell phone and use her light to go into the cave. But now she just can't even, like, she didn't even do any of that.
She was twat first jumping into that cave, brother.
Yes.
She was ready for that shit.
He yelled, using his arms to articulate, pointing at me and then the tunnel.
Oh, I do. We've seen it.
I pointed out. Mike narrowed his eyes angrily.
Yeah, exactly.
He said,
Tide's out.
Yeah, but your theory hasn't been fully tested yet. We don't know where it goes. So let's be cautious, shall we?
your British accent is fucking fire, by the way.
Oh, is it really? I've always been told
really
it was
is.
terrible.
No, I love it. It's awesome.
If we go down to the tunnel, we can test my theory and know for sure. We pretty much know for certain the monster is getting through these tunnels. All we need to know is how it's getting into them. Because I think the tide is washing the monster into the sewage system or whatever, and it's so she tried to convince him and she's like, or whatever. Or whatever. And it's somehow making its way here.
If the phrase "or whatever" has made its way into your theorizing, then you need to like pump the brakes a little bit. Like, let's run into the hallway because of the fucking sewer or whatever, man.
There's a chainsaw massacre in my house right now, but I think he got in from the front door or whatever, and he's right in front of me, and I think if I run toward him, I can overpower him or whatever.
Like, dude, you're right, twat first. She is just so ready to just run down this thing. She's not thinking, like, it took them so many steps to get the key to the door that the monster is getting through, and they don't even have access to it.
And they were fucking terrified. They were terrified when they saw the monster in the basement, but now they're like, ah! She's like,
ah, forget about it. I'll go in the fucking dungeon, dude. I'll just fucking go down there real quick.
We're just gonna go down there and kill it. That's what she's thinking. She's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
I played Alan Wake. I got a flashlight.
Dude, it'd just be so funny to me if she immediately was just like, let's kill it. Like, let's not do the whole like mystery thing. I don't care about where. I'm not gonna follow it. I don't need to get more hints from anybody. Like, let's just.
If she said, let's just kill it, dude, I would instantly start giving her Stallone voice.
Let's just fucking kill it.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, listen. Sometimes when you get knocked out, you gotta get right back up and just fucking kill it.
I mean, that's the way to do it. I explained eagerly, hoping I'd win him over with my excellent proposal.
I'm not going in there, and neither are you,
he demanded, his tone cool and stoic. That set me off. I hated how he could be calm and angry at the same time.
Who put you in charge?
Said snarkily.
Who put you in charge?
He roared back.
Granddad!
We stood there. That's fun. She does have an answer. We stood there squaring up to one another, neither of one of us daring to make a move or say anything else. I'm taking this literally, by the way. That they're like full on like ready to.
No, they're British squaring up, dude. They have teacups. No.
I see. Oh, I got you. Yeah, they're preparing an argument.
Yep.
I disagree. Finally, Mike stormed off up the stairs in an agitated huff, leaving me behind in the cellar. He slammed the door to the pub behind him, and the silence after the slam gave me goosebumps. Using the adrenaline from our tete-a-tete, I scurried around the basement, grabbing some pieces I thought I might need for my adventure. Flashlight in hand, small bottle of aged whiskey that I'd swiped off a shelf in the other, I entered the tunnel. Smart. It didn't take long before I started crying to myself. Jesus, girl, get it together. I wandered through the dark as I took sips from my bottle. I'm a crier in arguments, always have been. Mike and I had never had a fight before, not a real one.
What is
Just the tone of this is just so like we hadn't had our first fight yet. Like, bro,
yeah.
you're a cousin, dog.
You guys are cousins, dude. You stop trying to have sex with each other, please,
Dude.
please.
I know our interaction might have seemed very minor, but it was truly out of the ordinary for us. We've had disagreements, of course. We are cousins. I think she needs to remember this while she's drinking that whiskey and missing him. But we handle things differently. Oh, I bet you do down by the seaside. When we were kids, we were the silent treatment types. I almost couldn't handle thinking that I'd upset him. It felt so unnatural. As I continued to walk deeper into the tunnel, I realized I had quite a lot to cry about. In the cold darkness of the tunnel, I let myself whinge about anything and everything. My emotional spiral kept the fear of the dark and the monster away. My emotional spiral kept the monster away. Yes, I love that sentence. That is fucking awesome.
The monster's like,
He's like,
bitches
he's
be
like creeping.
crazy.
Yeah. He's like right behind her, like, oh, you're like having a real moment here. Like, I'm
She's fucking womaning. She's womaning. I gotta get the
if he's
fuck
like
out of
behind
here.
her and he's like done this before, like where he's like sneaking up on like a woman, like a distressed lady, and he's like, hello, and she's like, what? And just turns around and he's like, oh, I can come back. Okay.
I'll be back later. I'll be back in a bit, miss.
I don't think I would have been able to traverse the tunnels with a rational, clear head. That's probably a good point, actually. She maybe needs to be in this haze, actually. I like that, too. I kept asking myself unanswerable and stupid questions like, why did dementia take my grandfather so early? Why was I even allowed to take over the pub when I'm 21 and have zero experience owning a business? Why does no one in my family other than Tanya, Mike, and Granddad want to listen to me? That's a lot of people. I don't think they ever liked me anyway. And also, where the fuck does this tunnel go, and how long have I been walking? I checked my phone, which shockingly still had a bit of signal. I'd been down there for about 40 minutes, even though it felt like 5. Oh, we're back in like the magic sea cave, where the people go. Hello. Got a whole parade of cats. Oh, they're fighting. That's cute.
Ah, dude.
They were being loud. Anyway, the
Michael
dirt
Vick
floor
over
had
here,
been-
dude.
I know. Yeah, the cat came for like 2 seconds.
Oh, look at him go,
Dirty
dude.
ass floor. Yeah, that's Soldier and Ruby fighting.
Let's
Everyone's
get
gonna
it.
be like, freeze frame it. Just watch all this
You don't
dirty
get
clothes.
animal fights on other shows like this, dude. Ours is the only one exclusively with animal fighting.
I think that she provokes him, and then I only see him chasing her and like beating her up while she's like, chase me, and like she loves it, dude. She fucking loves it. Anyway, why does no one in my family, nobody likes me, how long have I been walking? Dirt floor. Okay, I've been down there for about 40 minutes. The dirt floor had begun to curve downward as I walked. Soon my surroundings changed from dirt to rocky dirt. And then finally just jagged gray rock lined the ceiling, walls, and floor. This is where the cult cave happens, dude. I'm calling it right now. This is a called shot. I got over my emotional outburst fairly quickly, and as my head began to clear, my surroundings began to unnerve me. I soon felt the instinct to turn back and start running as fast as I could. But I quelled that instinct with another sip of whiskey. Which shockingly, I think you might have started doing the Stallone voice, dude. Which shockingly I hadn't guzzled. And although I was definitely under the influence, I wasn't drunk. Yet. As I wondered, I thought about how long it had been since someone, other than the monster, had walked down this tunnel. I decided I quite liked it. The darkness felt cozy at times, almost like the inside of a closet during a game of hide-and-seek. It gave me a Sweeney Todd vibes a little bit, and I...
Little mother's meat
I
boys,
can see-
savoury and sweet boys, if you please.
And I could see in my mind's eye a Victorian woman pulling a body that had been washed ashore up this tunnel. Foreshadowing. Of course, the obvious explanation for the tunnel was smuggling. But that just didn't feel right to me. Couldn't put my finger on why. That being said, I had fun imagining pirates carrying crates of rum and bags of sugar up the tunnel, holding lit torches and candles. I put my hand on the cold stone wall as if, like Uncle Kevin had said, I could feel the history. I kept my hand... She is drunk as shit. I kept my hand dragging along against the stones as I walked deeper and deeper into the tunnel. I imagine she's just shouting about pirates. She's like, I feel the history! Yo ho!
Yo ho, and a bottle of rum.
Suddenly, I came across a fork in my road. Yeah, here we go. Well, it was more of a trident, as the tunnel split off in 3 ways. One straight forward, one to my left, and one to my right. The space between them all was beautifully decorated with colorful painted murals. Ancient scenes depicted the creature I had seen in the basement, widely grinning with bluish skin and blackened eyes. Yo, what the fuck? Each tunnel entrance was painted seemingly to tell you what it was. The one to my left was painted like the doorway to the local cathedral. The right was painted like a big beautiful building I didn't recognize, topped with a family crest whose last name began with M. And then, in front of me, was the face of the monster. The doorway acted as its mouth, wide and ready to consume me. Colt Cave, bro! I fucking called shot! Ah!
Let's go, dude.
Its eyes sat above, watching, and its arms were outstretched, ready to receive me. I turned back to take
Just
a look
like your
at what
cousin.
was... Yeah, just like Mike. I'm ready. I turned back to take a look at what was on the entrance I came from, and there was a quaint artistic rendition of my pub. That's boring, dude. It doesn't get any, like, symbolic shit. I scoffed, turning, and continued marching forward. Even she's disappointed. It was obvious which tunnel I had to follow if I wanted answers. Throwing myself into the metaphorical, or perhaps literal, belly of the beast, I entered the monster's mouth. This beast's belly was cold and damp, and smelled salty like the sea. To
No
alliterate.
shit.
Fuck you, author. No, that messed me up. That was a tongue twister. This beast's belly was cold and damp, and smelled salty like the sea. Alright. That portion of the tunnel system... See, I used all my word juices. I'm fucking spat. That portion of the tunnel system felt different. The passage was much, much wider, and I didn't like that I couldn't see both walls either side of me at the same time. Also, maybe it was just my mind, but it felt colder. No, you're right. My hairs began to stand on end. My own breathing echoed on the walls of the rock, which had become smoother as I walked on. When I took a moment to pee in a corner, I wasn't expecting that. I realized I was face to face with some writing on one of the walls. Dude, somebody else stopped exactly here to pee. There was graffiti down here. Its existence shifted my mood completely, and I didn't feel quite so isolated. There were names, dates, and to my surprise, prayers, pictures, and poems. Cult Cave. Oh, good.
Ivy, age 27, and Charles, age 6, were here, 1925. Yeah, I walk through the... Oh, this is Michael.
Yay.
Michael. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Michael Marsh, 1625. Do not weep, and fair bride, for I am not gone with the tide. I live in our son and daughter, who I saved from watery slaughter. J.R. 1825. Fucking cunt!
Beautiful.
That's you, buddy.
Oh, no name or year. Personal favorite. I spent a very long time reading every single piece of graffiti that I could. There were some I couldn't make out, especially the ones lower down, which were worn from being lapped at by the tide when it came in, and some markings which I think were in different languages. My My reading came to an unwelcome halt when, as I was staring at a stick figure style drawing, tracing my hands over it, I felt my feet getting wet. I looked down and I saw that the water had begun to gather on the floor beneath me. The tide was coming in. Gasping, I yanked my hand away from the wall. In my adrenaline-fueled trek, I'd forgotten the very reason I was exploring the tunnel. I looked back toward the pub, and then out toward what I assumed was the direction of the water. I decided my best chance was to start running back, and pray that I would make it there before the monster did. Otherwise, I risked both the monster and the incoming tide. I turned to run. Then, as my foot lifted from the floor, I felt something drip onto my forehead. I touched my hand to my forehead, and my fingers plunged into a cold slime. My mind raced with a logical explanation. All I could think of was stalactites. But I didn't think there were stalactites in man-made tunnels. I already knew that what I was going to see. But still, I looked up, my eyes moving from the dark emptiness below to what I prayed was the rock above. Poised like a spider, in the corner of one's bedroom, which you only notice once your head has hit the pillow, was him. Directly above me, clinging to the low ceiling. He was illuminated by the light of my torch. The grinning sea monster. Eerily still, eyes closed. He could have been mistaken for a statue, were it not for his slow breathing and the moisture which dripped from him onto the rock below. A shocked yelp escaped my lips. I lifted... Yeah, dude, you just got strange gooped by the monster on your forehead, dude.
The monster's just up
I
there
lifted
just...
my... Yeah. Yeah. His eyes are closed.
No,
big grin on his face.
fully open, black eyes.
A shocked yelp escaped my lips. I lifted my hands to catch the sound before it reached the creature, but I was too late. Its eyes sprung open. Its blue lips curled into an impossibly wide grin, wider than any it had shown me before. My instincts waited to see how best to react, sticking me to the floor, unable to move, feeling slime continue to drip onto me. My instincts finally told me to run when I heard the monster copy my yelp. I dropped everything I had, other than my flashlight, and started sprinting through the tunnel. My flashlight strobed on the wall as my arm moved up and down with each sprint. I caught glimpses of the creature running on the wall beside me. As I ran, tasting blood in my mouth and feeling my lungs sting, the sea monster imitated its long-since slaughtered victims.
Mother, help me!
It screamed in a choked, childlike voice, mouth not moving, followed, Jesus, by blood-curdling screams of a child in agony.
Dear God, spare me!
Oh, wait, hold on.
It cried in a woman's...
Dear God, spare me!
It cried in a woman's gentle voice.
Please don't leave me alone here! Oh, I can see it! It's coming for me!
A man's voice in pure, abject terror shook and trembled before joining the chorus of screams. I felt its hand almost grab me. The wet fingers brushed against my arm, feeling moisture behind. Joining the echoes of the fallen, I screamed, another voice for the creature to imitate. When I reached the trident in the tunnel, I took a turn into the passage that led to somewhere I didn't know. Why?
Why would
Not
you do
the
that?
pub. Yeah, why? It's straight ahead.
Well, maybe because it's on the
Whatever.
wall. Maybe because it's on the wall, she knows that if she turns, she can get a little bit ahead of it. Because it would have to, like, jump. It'd have to redirect. Maybe. It's stupid, but I'm giving it something. It's fucking retarded.
All right. That's fine. You're going to bat. All right, that's cool. We appreciate it. But what do you guys think?
The cats are like,
They don't let...
nah, my dude. I would just fucking...
yeah.
I'd be licking my
Like, it
crotch
was a
by
straight
now.
tunnel. It's even got a picture of the pub. There's
Yeah.
nothing else cryptic. Like, anyway, the one with the M. This tunnel was claustrophobically narrow, and in line with painful pebble dash. I scraped my arms on the walls as I ran. The monster seemed to have trouble getting through it too. I wonder if that was a design choice. In the end of the tunnel was a ladder. In desperate disbelief, I almost cried like a child. Frenzied, I threw my flashlight to the side. Again, why? And leapt onto the ladder. With a speed I didn't know I was capable of, I started clambering up the rungs. She's kicking in with that fish boy, the sea monster DNA, dude. Yeah, she could have just got up on the wall. At the top of the ladder was a trap door, which by some miracle wasn't locked. I threw it open. The door thudding against the floor above, and pulled myself out. I looked down at the monster just seconds behind me. I smacked the trapdoor onto its wet head and sat on the door, keeping it closed with my body weight. Serendipitously, I realized the keyhole was the same as the one on the pub door. Oh, cool. I shoved the brass key into the hole and turned it, locking it. Colt. I got up from the trapdoor and the thing stayed locked. I wondered if I had smacked the monster so hard on its slimy head that it was now lying comatose at the bottom of the ladder. That'd be hilarious. Then it began to speak. Ah, shit. This time in my father's voice.
Not my little girl. Send the weird little one down. That kid's not right in the head anyway.
Followed by an imitation of my grandfather's calm tone.
It's just how things are, Charlie.
Shut up!
I banged my hand on the trapdoor. To my surprise, the monster was quiet for a moment, until it finally said,
But you in charge.
in Mike's voice.
Oh, fuck off!
I grumbled, crossing my arms over myself like a toddler. This monster's funny, dude. He's got jokes. I stood up and looked around. It was an incredibly dusty basement, filled with furniture covered in moth-holed white sheets. There was some light which I assumed belonged to the morning sun, coming in from the top of a staircase. I climbed to the top of it and found myself in an abandoned manor house. It reminded me of the Tudor yeoman's house Uncle Kevin made us all go in once. Graffiti... This probably is the Tudor...
Yeah, it probably is.
Graffiti covered most of the walls and the windows were smashed, leaving shattered glass across the wooden floorboards. But the place seemed to have sturdy bones, and had stood the test of time as well as the test of druggies and teenagers. I was surprised that the furniture in the basement hadn't been taken. That's what made me think it was rebellious teens rather than proper wrong-uns.
Wrong-uns. Proper wrong-uns.
We didn't really get proper wrong-uns round here. We also don't have a lot of teenagers either, but I suspect they might be wandering over from nearby neglected seaside towns. Nearby Neglected Seaside Towns is the name of a concept album. I want that. I'm claiming this. I looked outside of one of the gaps where a window used to be and realized that the house was on a hill that overlooked some wetlands. Not too far away was my village. The sun was rising over the aforementioned horizon and slowly lighting up the manor house. I decided I would take a quick look around, then hop out of one of the windows to trudge back home to find Mike. Then I'd apologize to him profusely. I would have liked to stay longer and look over the manor, but I was exhausted. But what I did notice, carved elegantly into the walls above the doorways, was a large letter M surrounded by decoration. As I was staring, I unzipped my pocket and put my hand in there. I found the small bottle of whiskey.
Result!
I laughed to myself. Before jumping out of the window, I sipped some more whiskey to null the pain of my arm scrapes and leg aches. It made me feel queasy on an empty stomach, but I dealt with it. I made a pitiful attempt at parkouring out the window and onto the grass below. It got me out of the building at least. But even as I was even if I bashed my knee on the windowsill on the way down. Feeling the roughest I've ever felt in my life, I trudged on through wetlands. I passed by some dog walkers and quarter zips who seemed quite dismayed by my appearance. I gave them a polite wave and a smile and tried to act as normal as possible till I was out of view. My trainers, which were already moist from the tunnels, became completely sodden. By some miracle, I didn't get trench foot, and eventually I reached the beach, where I took my shoes and socks off. I left them behind on a rock, deciding they were ruined beyond saving. They will pop back up. Really, I just couldn't be asked to carry them. As I marched onward, letting the sand dry my feet, I watched the sea slowly receding from the beach. I imagined the monster not so far off in the deeper and bluer part of the channel, lurking, waiting. It made me angry, frustrated. I wanted to know two things, and I didn't care all that much about anything else to do with it. What did it want, and how do I get rid of it? I think I know the answer to the first question, but it's the second one I really want to know. If anyone has any good ideas about what would kill a sea creature, let me know. I was thinking fire. Something that's the opposite to what it is. Yeah, Pokemon. That shit, dude. You gotta get a thunder type.
Dude, just wait till 2 more sentences and says.
Maybe I should get a gun off a friend of mine that does clay pigeon shooting and wait in the tunnel ready to snipe it.
That's
what
not
about
what...
electrocuting the water? Ready to snipe it. Snipe. What about electrocuting the water? Is that a viable, or will I kill myself?
Alright, first off, you don't snipe anything with a shotgun.
Yeah.
You shoot clay pigeons with a shotgun. So you're just fucking blasting shit down the fucking hallway.
Is that not called snipe? No,
is it
never
sniping?
mind. I'm fucking... No,
no, sniping is like rifles, dude. Like snipers. Unless we're talking about the animal, the snipe.
Nope, I am literally thinking of snipe hunting, which is a practical joke. Alright. I have been up for too long and hiked too much today. Alright. But yes, anyway, yeah, no, she's got all the wrong ideas about this. She's not a killer, is what this is telling me. Mm-hmm. We need to get, like, some wrong-uns. Some proper wrong-uns.
We need to get some proper wrong-uns. Some of the Whataburger boys. The Whataburger boys, they know how to rough it up. Maybe get some Irish down here. They know a thing or two about car bombs.
That's exactly it, yes. Just send a car bomb.
They're shoving one of those fucking Fiat cars in the tunnel with a bomb in it.
Giant tunnel. Yeah, they're driving down the tunnel. Like, I see it. There it is.
There it is. It's gonna go boom.
They're like, is it next to a bus? He's like, no. And they're like, then the bomb won't go off. As I got closer and closer to my village, the caves came into view. Someone was waiting by them. I saw a young man with unruly hair and a faded denim jacket sitting outside them on the sand. His arms were clasped around his knees, hugging himself. He was staring out into the sea. As I got closer, I realized it was Mike.
Mike!
I waved at him, running over. His head snapped toward me, and he looked at me like I was a ghost. He'd been crying.
Oh, thank God!
He burst into sobs as he stood up. Fucking bitch. I'm just kidding. When we met, he pulled me into a long hug and continued to weep. I had to yank myself out of the hug.
What's wrong?
I asked him gently.
Well, you just fucking disappeared. I thought.
He took a shaky breath and tried to form words without sobs.
Also, I swam out the cave. It had someone. They weren't dead yet.
His voice got choked on the final words.
What?
Was all I could ask. Mike looked like he was going to be sick, and his whole body began to tremble.
Wait, was this me? Yeah.
It had someone.
He repeated, a tear rolling down his freckled face.
Mike, we have to go tell someone. Did you phone the police? If someone's gone missing from the pub, we have to report it. We don't have to say who did it.
What the fuck? I tried to reason with him, but Mike simply shook his head. His mouth stayed pursued like someone who was barely containing a gigantic chuck-up, pursed. A look I only usually saw on him when he greened out. I have to say, the fact he just froze when he thought I'd been carried off by a sea monster wasn't a comforting thought. But then what was he supposed to do? If he phoned up the police and told him, hey, my cousin has been carried off into the sea by a creepy monster thing, they'd assume Mike did it and put him away for life. His dad and the rest of our family would probably think the same. Even our family won't protect each other from the law. Not that kind of law, anyway. When someone's being hurt, at least. I wouldn't protect my family member if they murdered someone, especially not one of our own. Mike looked like a man drained, like something sun-bleached and washed up by the sea. His skin the color of pale driftwood. I had zero idea what to say to him. I had an apology prepared, but now wasn't the time. someone had died, and we now had to get our story straight. It felt scummy and dirty, but I had to think about how... Jesus Christ. But I had to think about who saw us go into the pub the other night and what I was going to tell the police when they came knocking. We'd both need alibis that weren't each other. I won't lie. I was basing all of these thoughts off of movies and TV shows that know very little about UK investigative laws. I'm fucking up. I'm so tired. We'd both need alibis that weren't each other. I won't lie. I was basing all of these thoughts off of movies and TV shows and know very little about UK investigative laws. It wrecked my conscience to be thinking about these things when someone was dead. Morning swimmers began to appear on the beaches, and we both took that as a cue to get moving. Mike turned to walk up the beach, and I urged him back.
The tunnel goes straight back to the cellar. I know for sure now.
I told him.
Oh.
He looked at it unsurely.
Don't worry, the tide's out. It's a good idea to go to the pub right now. It looks more suspicious if we avoid it.
He nodded and followed me silently. At the mouth of the cave, he paused and looked at me.
How far do you get in?
He asked, putting his hands into his pockets, trying not to look scared.
I have no idea, but I'll tell you what happened as we go.
I promised.
The walk's long enough.
I forced an awkward laugh.
Oh.
Mike didn't match it or give me a smile. He just nodded silently and marched alongside me.
Dude, so good, dude.
So good.
So good. I like, you know what my favorite thing about this is it'll set something up and then utilize it in a pretty quick manner.
Yeah.
Like the dad thing where she talks about her dad because like she having the moment with her grandfather and she's like, yeah, my dad was a fucking piece of shit when got the milk and stuff. What an asshole. And then you get this tidbit in the next one, which is like the big, I think that's the big reveal of this is the father talking like, don't sacrifice my daughter. Which goes to show that this town probably fed him to the sea monsters. And I like that it like, okay, well now we have this dynamic. And it did the same thing with like Mike. Okay, where we hear these people in I hear this shit. I'm going to get my cousin. My cousin's going to laugh at me. But then he starts to buy into it. And it starts like building his character in the second part. Third part, you get more of the build-in about why the granddad's in the old folks home and the dementia, and it's so naturally guides itself to the next part.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you're not left hanging or wondering for very long. Like, I like the key thing. Like, that was really cool. That like got resolved immediately, pretty much. It was like left on like a little cliffhanger. The very next part, it took like a quarter of the way into it before you had the right key and you were back on track. I like that. Yeah, this has been fantastic.
Yeah,
so far.
So good.
Okay.
Last part.
Let's see. All right. Let me adjust my nuts. All right. The creature had taken a young woman, a tourist from London, who'd accidentally wandered into the cellar in search of the toilet. According to her boyfriend, which really meant inadvertently I had killed an innocent young woman by leaving the doors unlocked.
I was wondering about that. I never said anything, but my thought was she left a door unlocked. Like, is it just gonna like get in? Is it just gonna go into the pub because her drunken ass like left the fucking secret door unlocked?
Well, it gets into the pub no matter what. The door's been locked for like ever.
But yeah, but the pub door's been locked, but like she left the one upstairs just open that could get everywhere. So somebody was just chilling. She left every door open like a jackass.
I thought that Mike slammed the door shut behind him.
Maybe
on his
right.
way out. So maybe Mike killed her. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but I thought that Mike had slammed the door because she said like it gave her goosebumps and then she was back alone in the cellar and shit. Dude, I think that, I don't know, man. I just want to know how this thing is getting into the basement through the locked door. The locked door is such a big part of it.
Yeah,
and of course we have to learn about the cult.
Yeah, I that was kind of what my curiosity was too, because like, okay, so now you have the secret door there, like that they opened up. or whatever. Not really secret, but you know what I mean. And now they've opened that up, but they did see it on the steps before, so how it got on the steps. That is a big plot hole that I think you're bringing up. But I think without that plot hole, the idea of them leaving the door open and it fucking yeeting some poor chick is pretty fucked up and hilarious.
It is pretty fucked up and hilarious, especially that when... Like, okay, wait, never mind. I thought of another plot hole where she was walking for like 40 minutes. No, because never mind. It wasn't that far of a walk, or she wasn't that far because she was stopping and reading all of the graffiti. So she probably didn't make it that far. And then her very quick run back, I was like, this all happened really fast. But anyway, all right. So the guilt made me so sick I couldn't look anyone in the eye for a while. The woman was younger than me. She was on a holiday with her boyfriend, who I saw sobbing incoherently to the police when Mike and I returned to the pub. I decided to be honest with the police, to an extent. I didn't tell them about the monster, but I told them everything else. You bitch. If they arrested me on suspicion, I decided I deserved it. When they questioned me, I told them about the tunnels. I showed them the key, and I even explained how I'd gone exploring down there, and then decided to take a turn to the manor house. They searched down there but didn't find any trace of the girl. No blood, no belongings. I even told them about my walk back through the wetlands and Mike and I's walk up from the mouth of the tunnel, but I didn't tell them that Mike saw the monster drag the girl into the water. Personally, I would have arrested me instantly, because that is the most suspicious and ridiculous story I have ever heard. But the police decided to let Mike and I go. The story in the paper read,
Doris gets swept away in the tide in hidden tunnels underneath the local pub.
They said she must have gone looking for the toilet, then came across the tunnel and decided to have a look. She went too far and drowned as the tide came in. They suspected her body would wash up on shore in the next few days. What shocked and disturbed me the most from all of this is that the local town did not seem to give a single fuck about what happened.
No,
life went on as normal. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're all fish people, man. If I lived around here and my local pub had a girl go missing and secret tunnels underneath, I'd stop going there. And I'd assume someone had murdered her and it was a cover-up. But no one seems suspicious of me, or my pub, or anyone, or anything. Hi, Tom. You fucked me up, Tom. There's a question on my mind that is troubling me. The door to the tunnel locks, and I don't think the monster can unlock doors otherwise. Yeah, here we go. We're talking about the door now. Oh god, you stink so bad, dude. He goes outside. He's a garbage cat.
Oh.
Ah. And I don't think the monster can unlock doors. Otherwise, it would have gotten through the trapdoor. So how was the monster getting inside the pub before last night? Who left it unlocked before and then locked it again? And was it on purpose? My first thought is that my grandfather's memory decline made him forget. But thinking over the conversation the monster repeated back to me at the manor is making me suspicious of him. I'm getting suspicious of them all. Since the girl's disappearance, I've been going on about my life, in a daze. A daze that revolves around the tides and is preoccupied with the monster. I've locked the door to the tunnels and the living quarters now, and don't plan on unlocking them for a while. I don't sleep there anymore either. Instead, I take the drive to Mike's place. I was just starting to feel a little better when another person went missing. A teenage boy with a sweet-braced smile in his picture in the paper had disappeared into the sea. He was active at the local church, always helping out, and was seen going down into the basement. Then he just seemed to vanish. People think he was abducted from outside the church, but I knew it was the monster. I knew this because the police found 2 sets of bones in the basement of the church a few days ago. Arranged in a letter M on the cold stone floor were the bones of a young woman and young man, the tourist and the boy. This put the nail in the coffin of any suspicion that might have lurked in the town about me and my pub, because I was seen on CCTV in Mike's area, getting out of my car when the boy went missing. Speaking of Mike, he moves around in a daze too. He quietly smokes himself into oblivion after work pretty much every day, based, and other than that, he just sleeps. We don't talk much anymore. We just sit on the sofa and try to tune out the thoughts with reality TV. I sort of looked forward to our time spent decaying on the sofa. It was still better than being alone or constantly looking at the pub living quarters door, expecting something to open it and pop its head round. The way she said that was so funny. It just pops around like, hello.
Hello.
It was then when I was closing up for the night, just after midnight, looking forward to another nighttime rotting. It says night too many times in this sentence. It was just when I was looking forward to another nighttime rotting session with Mike that I suddenly heard a knock at my door. I looked over to see a tall shadow standing behind the frosted glass. Tiredly, I groaned and marched over to the door. I had just locked up and now had to go through the motions of unlocking the door again. When I pulled open the front door, standing in the doorway was a tall, grim-looking clergyman with gray hair and a high collar.
May I come in?
He asked, his accent soft and well-spoken. I nodded and stepped aside, the gravity of him being a clergyman making it hard to turn him away. He looked around the pub, and I thought I saw a faint smile in the corner of his mouth. Then he sat down in one corner. Then he sat down in one of the booths and looked over at me as if he was pleased to see me.
Pint?
I asked.
On the house? Yes, please.
He smiled. I didn't like his smile. Too toothy. While I watched him continue to visually take in the pub, I poured him a beer of his choice, Foster's, which instantly made me distrust the man. I placed it down on the table, in front of him on a beer mat, then took a seat across from him.
I suspect you know why I'm here.
He said, taking the glass in his hand.
It's about the boy, isn't it?
I avoided his gaze, rubbing my thumb over a stain on the table. He nodded solemnly before taking a sip of his beer.
Yes, it is about the boy. He was very dear to me and the community. Now he is gone. You think I did it? No.
He gave a look that told me he knew about the monster. But before I could ask a clarifying question, he asked,
Are you God-fearing, ma'am?
I hated being called ma'am. Made me feel like an aged matron.
No, I'm an atheist.
I told him.
I say, without the promise of heaven, why do you do good things?
Good.
That's a bit of a big question for after hours.
I chuckled nervously. The clergyman just stared at me.
What's your name, by the way? You're avoiding the question, and it's Father Reed. Well, Father Reed, I do good things because I know they're good, or because they make logical sense. And would you do good things even if it meant you had to endure negative consequences? Depends. On what? The outcome of the negative consequences. I'd break my arm to pull a child off a cliff, for example, or I'd give my cousin a kidney. But I would not make myself late for work to help an old lady cross the road, you know. So you like heroic acts of self-sacrifice?
He grinned over the top of his pint glass. I stared at him like he'd just insulted me.
Huh? What?
Continuing to smile, he got up from his seat.
Thank you for the beer, Miss... Thank you for the beer, Miss Merton. I must be on my way now.
He nodded to me. The low ceilings made him look awkwardly, eerily tall.
But...
I began. He put his hand out to stop me mid-sentence.
I really must be off.
He shook my hand while smiling in a way that unnerved me, then promptly left, shutting my door behind him. I stood in the middle of the pub on the red patterned carpet, utterly dumbfounded. Then my phone began to ring, the sudden sound making me jump. I took it out of my pocket to realize it was my Auntie Tanya. She never calls me.
Hello!
I said cheerily into the phone, pleased to hear from her.
Shh!
She hissed.
You need to leave! Leave? What do you mean leave? My mum and Gav, they're...
She began to cry.
Oh yeah, she's younger,
Suddenly,
isn't
was
she?
A gasp. I think it's her aunt, so I don't really
Yeah,
know.
but I remember... But
She's only like 20.
Yeah, something like that.
So she's like 40, something like that.
No,
probably.
I thought her Aunt Tanya was like, she was weird because didn't it talk about her being younger? Her Aunt I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I mentioned that in that first part.
Yeah. I think that she is younger. That's why she's probably like faking the cheeriness on the phone and stuff like that. And Tanya never calls her or that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, suddenly there was a gasp and the phone call ended. As if on cue, I heard the pub door open, and this time Mike appeared in the doorway. He looked disheveled and panicked.
Come on, we're leaving.
He instructed.
Okay.
I nodded, grabbing my handbag from behind the bar and following him out to the car park. I didn't question him because, well, after all we'd been through, if he says we need to leave, I'm going to trust him. He looked around the car park as if he was looking for someone. Then, hurriedly, he climbed into the car and I climbed in next to him. He put the key in the ignition and I leaned back trying to get comfortable. Suddenly I felt a large hand cover my mouth. Then something sharp quickly stabbed me in my neck. I caught a quick glimpse of my attacker in the mirror. My Uncle Kevin's eyes stared back at me in a way I can only describe as bloodthirsty. The pain that seared through my neck was the last thing I remember before the world went dark. I reached my hand out for Mike, but it went limp as I graced the sleeve of his hoodie. When I finally opened my eyes again, I saw nothing. I was surrounded by total darkness. The total absence of any light at all made me start to panic. I had never truly experienced it before.
Help!
I yelled helplessly into the void.
Is there anyone down here? Kevin, you bastard! I'll have you!
There was a long, empty silence.
Winnie!
I heard from somewhere deep down in the void.
Mike!
I crawled towards the sound, relieved that I wasn't alone. Then I felt the damp ground beneath me and realized the tide was in. The disappointment made me start to weep. I was going to die alone in the dark, or I would be dragged into the sea by a murderous wide-toothed monster and drown. I didn't know which fate was worse. As I got up from the floor, I realized there was a heavy weight in my pocket. I put my hand in there as I started fumbling my way in the dark. Hand in my pocket. I ambled away from where the sound was coming from. I took it out, and from the shape alone I realized it was a Swiss Army knife. There was something else, too. A lighter. I lit it up. The brief light revealed it was Auntie Tanya's favorite sparkly pink lighter, which made me laugh through my tears.
Oh, maybe she is older.
I used the light... Oh, okay. I used the light once more to make sure I was heading straight on, and then on my fumbling legs I ran from the monster for a second time. I decided if I was going to die, I was going to cause the monster as much damage as possible before I went down. With unsteady hands, I pulled the blade out from my pocket knife and held it ready for when I was caught. Yeah, right, yeah. It's like a nail file.
Yeah.
This was the only time when I think it's appropriate to run with a blade. I figured... Preachy? What the fuck? Yeah, preachy. We can run with a knife all I want. I figured maybe Oh, this is Britain. In America,
yeah,
we
dude,
get to run with knives
they're
all we
like...
want to.
They're like, well, again, she's like, the blade. Like, she's fucking Wesley Snipes, and it's a Swiss Army knife.
She's like, with the Odachi. I figured the ancestral blade.
Yeah.
I figured maybe I'd impede its ability to hurt someone else the next time it came knocking, if I did some damage on my way to my watery grave. My feet pounded against the wet ground as fast as my numbed legs could go. Horrifyingly, I heard the thing scuttling along the ceiling above me. Then I realized something. My mind reasoned this next part out in a few seconds. If it was on the ceiling, it was just as likely to catch me if I ran towards the sea than if I ran to the pub, where the door would certainly be locked. The tide was in, but not so deep yet that I couldn't swim through it, I hoped. Taking a leap of faith, I turned and sprinted so quickly, my bitch PE teacher who called me lazy in my year 8 would have cried with pride. I must have thrown the monster for a loop because it froze for a second before it scuttled on after me. It began to repeat horrific things to me again. Voices of the past in agony and terror echoed through the cave and my skull. But it had the opposite effect to what the monster wanted. It's cliche, but I wanted to survive for them. And also, I didn't want to be another voice for it to torture its next victims with. I knew that boulder I saw as a teenager was coming up. Sorry, I have like some fuzz in my throat or some shit.
That's fine. Dude, honestly, I've had so much trouble doing Whitney's voice because I've had a cough for so long that it's hard for me to hit the I waved
Like
her
a-
in and out of her high-pitched voice.
Yeah. Mike and I climbed over it on our way up. I kept checking with my lighter, and soon it was in the near distance. The one I hadn't been able to scale as a teenager. Desperately, I read these with such wrong tone. Desperately, I threw myself on it and yanked myself onto the top. The gap between the boulder and ceiling was quite narrow, and it gave me another bright yet foolish idea. I lit the lighter and watched the monster scurrying toward me. Its face was ravenous and delighted at the prospect of my tender flesh. I resisted the urge to scream and run. Instead, I crouched, knife in hand, waiting for the right time to strike. This bitch is going to die. When its grinning face was inches away from mine, I sent the knife into its black beady eye before yanking the blade back out. A slimy blue substance sprayed from the wound and splashed across my face. The monster screamed in its own gurgled voice. Hearing its true voice almost made me feel sorry for it. I hesitated to run, as if I wanted to know it was okay first. Then I saw panic twist the creature's grin into a grimace, and instinct told me to bolt in the opposite direction. I hopped down off the other side of the boulder and kept on running. That was a weak burp. With the flame
Yeah, it was
from my
pretty
lighter-
sad. It was a pretty sad
Yeah,
burp.
it was sad.
You put in so much
Who the fuck
effort.
is this?
You put so much effort in it that and then that all that came out, and so your cat decided to whoop your ass for being a little pussy.
Yeah, right? He just jumped up and smacked me. What the fuck? I guess he wants to go outside or something. He'll have to wait. I hopped down and the boulder started running with the flame from my lighter. Okay. With the flame from my lighter, I saw the water coming up. But I also saw the light of the moon coming in. It was faint, but full of hope and mercy. I jumped into the water and started swimming as soon as I was able to. I was in the monster's element now, and any head start I could get, I had to take advantage of. Especially because I'd have to hold my breath as I passed through the mouth of the cave, which might have been the end of me. And there was a chance that if I did make it out into the channel, that I'd get swept away with the tide and drown, if the monster didn't get me first. As the mouth of the cave came towards me, I ducked my head under the water and swam like hell through the darkness. When I saw the light, I finally popped my head up for air. The moon had never looked so bright. It felt like my heart skipped a beat with glee. It was in my moment of distraction that the monster made one last attempt to get me. As I turned to swim to the shore, I felt a sharp, piercing, searing pain in my leg. I was right. The pain was made infinitely worse by the salt water. Damn. The monster had its jaw clenched around my calf. Thrashing around, trying to break free, I screamed in agony. It dragged me down easily in my distress. Soon I felt myself losing air and starting to drift down lifelessly. For a moment I thought to myself, at least I got the bastard in the eye. And maybe the next family member my horrible elders try to feed to it can get the other eye. Mike will remember me. I had fun. It was a good life overall. It is true that before you die, your life flashes before your eyes. Mine was a dreamy haze of childhood beach days, emo teenage years, and my messy but fantastic uni years. A slideshow of my best memories. Then I saw a white light in a circle and faces starting to look through it. One was my grandmother, but they all looked very confused.
What?
I asked them. They pointed behind me. Suddenly I opened my eyes and saw something fly past me in the water, pulling me from my dying dream. A rope. It had a weight on the end to send it down. It was just within reach. I gripped my hand over it, feeling my skin wear against the rope as the monster continued to drag me. I held the rope like a vice, with a vice-like grip, enduring the blisters already forming. Putting all my strength in what could have been my final moment, I started thrashing around again. Desperately, I took the knife from my pocket, and this time I stabbed the monster in the throat. In agony, the monster let go of me for a moment. I yanked the rope hard to let whoever had thrown it know that I was ready to go, and began swimming for the surface. Holding its webbed hand to its bleeding neck, I watched the monster swim away, disappearing into the murky depths. Oh, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
I was hoping that it was just like floating, like,
Yeah, no,
Like, just
it
straight
would have been
downwards.
cooler if it would have died.
yeah. If it was just like, but my daughter. With the help of the rope, I swam to shore. Throwing up salt water and gasping for air, I pulled myself onto the wet sand.
Oi!
Mike dropped the rope and swam and ran into the water to help me out. I threw my arms around him and let him help me on to dry land. There were a few hazy moments which I don't remember so clearly, but I recall Mike patching up my leg as best he could with his own hoodie. When he took it off, I noticed he had red splotches on his white t-shirt. I didn't have the energy to ask him where they came from. He also had a nasty black eye and a split lip. As he helped me hobble across the beach and onto the road, he made a phone call. I heard my Auntie Tanya's voice, which sounded distant and shaky, but couldn't make out the words. I heard a man's voice too. A voice I thought I recognized, but couldn't quite put my finger on. Mike sat me down on a bench, and for a while we waited underneath the dim light of a street lamp. He watched the road eagerly, pacing back and forth while I tried not to pass out. The street was completely empty that night, and there was a chill in the air despite it being summer that made me shiver in my soaking wet clothes. A black car playing 80s rock and roll slowed down in front of us. When it stopped, Mike opened the black door and placed me in the back of the vehicle. The sound of the music felt... we did this earlier. Like, the dude's just going to come out with another needle. The sound of the music felt so out of place and stupid that the feeling of being pissed off spurred me on to survive. The car stunk, too, of cigarettes and stale beer. You'd think, being a pub owner, I'd be fine with that smell, but it was mixed with sweat and a smell of greasy food. That's also pubs. Anyway, overall, it didn't help with the queasiness I was trying not to give in to. Mike climbed in next to me and we started driving. The driver of the car disobeyed the speed limit and whipped around corners. Baller. Which threw me into the side of the vehicle and hurt my injuries.
What kind of Uber is this? What kind of fucking Uber is this?
I mumbled, looking at my Auntie Tanya in the passenger seat, her blonde hair tangled and speckled with blood spots. Then there was a chuckle, and a deep voice said,
Welcome to Dad's Cab, where we provide the finest passenger experience in Britain.
A man I recognized as my father, but about a decade older than when I last saw him, peered over the driver's seat, his green eyes topped by two bushy salt and pepper colored eyebrows, and below them was his big stupid nose and his dirty untamed beard. I swung for him, but my fist missed and smacked the side of his seat instead.
Oi! Eyes on the road!
Tanya demanded. My dad laughed and turned back to face the road.
What's wrong, kid? You worried we're gonna... Wait...
Oh yeah.
He pretended to swerve into oncoming traffic, causing cars to beep at us.
Charlie, we're meant to be keeping a low profile.
Mike hissed at him. I have no idea where exactly we're going or what stupid plan my dad has cooked up. I don't even know how and why he got here in the first place. I'm sure he'll start yapping about it soon enough. Boasting about coming to save me and whatnot. God, I hate this fucking loser. Not only am I slowly bleeding to death in the back of a car that should have been scrapped in the 2000s, the last thing I might hear could be my dad slurring his way through Fortunate Son. Can't believe I faced off against an ancient sea beast, and my reward is a wound stinging from saltwater exposure and a tour of England's motorway system. As I was grumbling to myself in my head, I caught Mike's eye. He was barely containing a laugh.
What's so funny?
I snapped. He just shook his head and said,
Jesus Christ.
While we laughed at our situation, I couldn't help myself and joined in laughing at our expense. We both looked like we'd been dragged through several hedges and been in a drunken brawl at the end of it. Also, I've realized something. I've titled these posts with, I can't bring
myself to go into that cellar again.
But I spent 5 posts wandering around down there. There's a message there somewhere. Or maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. Clearly it's hereditary. I think I've said all I needed to about this topic. Obviously I'm giving up the pub, and I never intend to go back. I know I leave you with a lot of unanswered questions, but obviously I need to keep a low profile for a while. Also, I don't see myself having any proper answers that I want to share for a good while. So, for now, goodbye, lads. Thank you for all your help. Starting to think I should have just hired a druid or voodoo queen like you guys recommended I should. I have, however, noticed something. My Auntie Tanya has an old leather-bound book in her lap that she's holding on to like it's a saucy Chinese takeaway she doesn't want to spill in the car. And on the cover of this book is a beautifully ornate Letter M. Love ya and wish me luck in my new post-graduate plan of living as... In my new post-graduate plan... Oh, in my new postgraduate plan. Oh my god. Of living as an off-grid fugitive. Triple X. We know what that
Whitney.
means. From Whitney. Alright, man. That's all.
Yeah,
She
no,
never
that's
should have
it.
gone back to the pub, dog, and she was never left.
Yeah.
She was in the pub the whole fucking story.
Yeah. Well, you know, I actually like the way it ends because you can kind of like figure out. I mean, they're part of a cult. There was obviously some sacrifices, ancient rituals were going on, and this is all stuff
know what?
you could put together in your head, and it's just kind of perfectly leaves you off here.
It is.
I
It's
mean,
fucking
you have
perfect,
all the things. I mean, it looks like they posted something and then deleted it.
yeah, well, this I think it's a different story or something like that.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
I
maybe
can't
you're
really
right.
tell.
Yeah, though that entire person was deleted.
Yeah. No, this had... we always say, like, either stuff was over... it usually falls into the trap where, like, the final post is going to be like, no, I'm just kidding. Here's, like, 16 pages of breakdown and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, and
With
this
these
one...
long series, they feel... I think the authors feel really scared to... like get to the end of the story and like stop replying to comments and just let the story stand on its own and stuff like that. And Dr. Potter here did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, no, she's done an incredible job. She's done an incredible job with this story. I like the way it ends. I like that it just kind of ends off there. It's like we don't need anything else. The dad, you could just like sit here and just theorize on what happened, and I think that's what makes this really cool because you can just sit here and be like, well, the dad's been sitting watching from the shadows this entire time. He's just been a shadowy figure making sure that his daughter's okay for years and years, but he had to do it by erasing himself from the picture, and stuff like that. You know, you can really have fun with I mean, it's not like the deepest story where I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, Twin Peaks 4-hour video breakdown, but I mean, it's still this would be a good popcorn flick that you walk out of and you're like, ooh, you know what I think of that? Oh, there's a plot hole here, but this was pretty cool. This was pretty cool. I didn't need
the popcorn
explanation.
flick would have done 50 minutes of explanation at the end and stuff like that. This is like watching just enough of that popcorn flick to walk away with a really good.
This is what you said this
impression of everything.
last, I think, or a couple during our really big episode, where it ended and it ended and it ended.
Yes.
This one ended where it deserved to end. It just stopped.
Yep.
They're listening to Fortunate Son cruising down the road. Dad's being an asshole like nothing's happened. Tanya's sitting there with the leather bound book. Mike's like just laughing at the situation. We're done.
He's just letting that foundation settle, isn't he?
Perfect. So good. I loved this story. This was one of my favorites that we've read so far. It just hit every mark that it needed to hit. I'm so glad they like reached out and said, please read this, because this was awesome. It was. I was kind of worried I wasn't going to like the story of the person who said please read this, because like that would suck if I was the guy like, hey, could you please read this? It's super good. Please read it. And then like it's like, yeah, this is dog shit, bro, dude. I'm gonna rub my nut cheese all over this piece of shit. And I'm glad that it was just a fucking hitter, dude.
I thought you were going to keep going for a second, so I was like, I had a second for the hit of 8-pin. Damn you. No, I think that this is probably just like a very cool listener who knows exactly what it was that we were looking for. She's like, they need something that's Cthulhu-y, but not too Cthulhu. Like, it's not going to have to be, 100%. It's got enough room for the voices, because you were just knocking it out of the park with all that British,
thank
bro.
You. The dialogue was pretty, like, I think the narrator gets a little kind of fucking stuffy at times. She does get a little stuffy at times, like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? But it's not bad. It's not bad. It seems like the girl who went through the emo phase and is stuck with a fucking pub. And it works.
Maybe I was reading it wrong. Maybe it just had like a little bit of more tone where she's like, I'm running with this knife, and then she like pauses and like breaks the fourth wall, and she's like, don't run with knives, by the way. And then she like goes back to like the story or whatever. Maybe I was just not selling it.
No, it's not that. She was stuffy. She was stuffy because even when her dad's back, she's like, "Fuck this asshole." I'm like, I don't know. You did just hear. I was like, you did just hear that your father, like, was defending you from your grandfather in the cave from a monster's voice. So I was like, I would think I'd give him a little bit of a... I mean, still probably should have taken her out of the situation. Maybe the family was holding her hostage or something, so...
We don't have to fall into the trap of trying to over-explain everything, but I do think it would be fun to answer the speculative question of where do you think they're heading next? They got the book with the M.
They're going to fucking
America. Yeah, bro, that's what the M is for.
Yeah, America. Fuck America. Where you can get a knife that isn't a Swiss Army knife and a gun that's not a shotgun.
That actually, you're right. That's fucking heavy munitions over there. That's like C4 to us. A Swiss Army knife. They're like, mate, you better be careful with that. I got a screwdriver, a wine opener. Oh, mate, take the money. Take the money, dude. That was more of a New Zealand accent, but whatever. That
scared me more than the fucking tweet you made this afternoon. Call the bobbies. Call the fucking bobbies.
I just wanted to know directions to the train, mate. Where I think that they're going, I'm speculating that they're going to beat answers out of Alzheimer's grandpa.
I don't think so.
He's been playing this whole time.
Oh,
he's not cooked.
He doesn't even have dementia.
Yes,
I think they killed Uncle
Kev. We didn't get. We got like the Biden walk away where he made like a really confused speech and he's like, I don't know anything, and then he like turns.
Under pressure.
Does like the evil smile back. Yeah. And he's like,
I think Kevin's been holding the torch for his dad for a long time, Uncle Kevin.
Yeah.
And I think they
didn't
killed
want him
him
asking questions.
I think they killed Uncle Kevin. That's why they're all covered in blood and beat up. I think Mike didn't see an opportunity where he could save her in the moment. And Uncle Kevin took her, and the dad already was watching him. So I think that's what happened. I think they murdered Uncle Kevin to try to save her, but they realized that they were too late. Because when Mike was there, I think he pulled up in the car, grabbed her, threw her in the van, or hit her with with drugs, threw her in the van, threw her in the water, and they beat and tortured Kevin until he gave the answers of where she was.
Oh, okay. So you think Kevin got that Mike got trapped and beat up? And then they got him back.
He had the thing on his eye. I think Kevin knocked him out, grabbed her, hit him, and then stole her.
Okay.
Because that I think would. Well, I mean, and what's kind of fun about thinking about them all beat up and bloody at the end of this, is it's like Reservoir Dogs in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where now I'm sitting here theorizing all the ways that this could have gone down, and I'm using all these clues that it laid in here. And even, you know what was another great thing? When it had the constable or whatever the fuck he was, I think he was the religious guy. When he came...
The priest!
The priest. When he came in, that was one of my favorite moments from this story.
Me too.
Because it was just... It could have gone way different. It could have been, I need answers and you need to give me this. It was just a weird conversation with a priest.
With a very unnerving guy.
And it was just a good conversation that you didn't really get much from. You didn't get, you got enough to where it's unnerving. Now it is something that is town-wide, but it's not explaining the story. And I loved that.
New theory. All right. Mike, you're right. Mike and Kevin were going back and forth, fighting, trying to save Whitney and stuff like that the whole time. Dad and Tanya killed Father, what's his name?
I don't think he was...
Because they showed up, they had blood and stuff like that on them too.
I think they killed... Book. I think Mike got fucking rocked when he kidnapped Whitney. Otherwise, Whitney would have never gotten to the basement.
Right. But Tanya, where they showed up in the car, it was Mike and Whitney standing by themselves, and Mike's all beat up and bloody and stuff like that. I think that was the Kevin confrontation that went down. But then Tanya and Dad pull up with the book, and they're like, get in, loser, we have a cult to bust. And they're pulling off to the sunset, and there's blood in her hair and stuff like that, and she's got the M book.
I like that.
Dog.
Dude, there's again, this is just so cool because you can just sit here and we could sit here for fucking hours and
I was going to speculate I was gonna speculate just random cultists that like Dad was just like, "Yo, Tanya, why are these random cultists mobilizing?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh shit, hold this book." And then they like mow down like 15 random cultists. They're the pensioners. It's like the retirees that have been shuffling around the whole time.
Well, you know, in the second, like the last 2 parts of this really made me think of Hot Fuzz. I mean, it's so...
Yeah,
I mean,
it did have some moments like that.
I mean, all it had to have was cults and British people, and I'm thinking Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
Like, obviously.
Yep.
But it really does just fucking work. It just works so good, dude. I loved this. But
I did too.
Well, we gotta go. Let's make sure to like, guys. Make sure to subscribe. I don't think we have anything else to add, or we're just gonna sit here for the next 3 hours explaining.
Right,
shit.
and just keep trying to explain the story that we don't want to over-explain.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
all right. So what do we have coming up though?
Coming up, we're gonna. I think what the no plan for further notice is I have a couple stories that I'd already asked for authors to like fucking give me okay on, so we will get to those eventually, but we're going to start steadily reading from the Reddit. We're going to start steadily reading from the Reddit. And with that being said, we're going to be a little harsher on the stuff on the Reddit. Not like harsh like mean, but like I like where we take the piss with the stories. And so don't ever take offense to it. We're always here. We love what you do. But we are gonna.
We wouldn't have the story if it wasn't for your story. So.
And we wanna not like we're not here to like deconstruct your shit, but we are excited to read the stuff on the Reddit. It's like we want to go through all of them, and there's a bunch now to go through. I mean, as small as we are, we have a decent selection of stories from like 5, 6, 7 people. I mean, even what's crazy is the writer of the Blair House posted on our subreddit too.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I'm excited to read.
We're getting famous, dog.
Yeah, I know, dude. Well, when this video goes out, we'll probably be at like tens of something followers. Holy shit! Oh,
tens of somethings.
Tens of somethings.
Maybe a stiff 2 does.
Yeah, stiff 2 does. All right, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate us on Spotify, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We fucking hate you.